July 27th, 2023 Planning Board session. Calling it to order and calling for a roll call.
Chair LaFaro.
Present.
Vice Chair Finnerty is absent. Secretary is present. Board Member Catalinato.
Present.
Board Member Mutu.
Present.
Board Member Neely.
Present.
Board Member Fulham.
Present.
We have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Great, thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Any minutes, Gloria?
We do not.
No minutes, so then we will move into, Anthony will take your,
Yeah, actually, so the numbers 1, 2, and 4 will be extensions and not
okay, so,
approval. So, Saks, Aaron Saks, this is a 2-lot subdivision on Lewis Road, right there in East Quad. Very simple application, but we're gonna do an extension of the action deadline until August 10th, 2023.
to August 10th.
Do we know
So
why?
today was an action deadline?
Yeah,
You have to
I'll
put
put
that
that in there. The reason why, Gloria, is I'm still waiting for all 3 of these engineering.
Okay.
Yeah, and then in these cases, I wasn't comfortable saying, subject to engineering, I want that comment.
Right, okay. So motion
Motion.
by Gloria,
second.
second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Number 2,
number
Old
2 is-
Stables at Spionk.
Yeah, that's 85 North Phillips and Spionk. This is one we've been working on for years. It's a 7-lot plan with 1 affordable unit. I'm still waiting on the review of the final road and drainage plans and the SWIP from the engineer, so we're gonna do an extension from this one until August 10th, 2023.
To August 10th, okay. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by George, second by
Second.
Craig, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
I
There will-
I do have one question which doesn't affect the vote. I noticed that there was a resolution in the packet, but not the staff report. And I have a note that IA system,
Which one are we talking, I'm sorry.
this Old Stables.
Old Stable, so, 2 things, yes, IA system, for sure.
Okay, because I guess whatever I read in the reso
Didn't say it.
was ambiguous, so if you could just.
We'll make sure that's fixed
just
in the
check
final
that.
one.
Christine, can you call Christine, please?
And then, on that one also, Gloria, and so, with reports on final subdivisions, there's no staff reports with final subdivisions
Okay.
typically, so I just wanted to clarify to that one.
Thank you. I continue to learn.
No, that's good. And then Hampton 6 Realty Corp., number 4, this is the Hampton Bays Market expansion, also an extension until August 10th, 2023.
Oh, so 3 of them. Okay, motion for that?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, and second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
The only other one I have is 7-Eleven, but I believe, Jeff, you're waiting for your team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so, we'll
And
come back.
we're waiting for Christine, so let's give her, okay.
Is it my,
Yeah, I know, right?
it's my turn? Is it my turn?
Claire, come up. Yes, we're just waiting for Christine to come,
Oh, okay.
okay?
Oh, do you want to do some extensions then? Is that
Yeah,
easy?
let's do some extensions.
Okay, so I got a couple things that have been extended in the meantime, or taken off the agenda. So,
Number 12, right?
number 12, so East Quad Mobile Home Park is going to be an extension until September 14th.
To September 14.
The discussion on that's going to be August 24th.
Discussion, August 24th.
Yes, and I sent you the report yesterday.
Okay.
It was painful.
Yeah.
It was so complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was a referral from the Suffolk
Pine Barrens.
Pine Barrens
Yeah.
Commission. Yeah.
Yes.
Which I didn't totally understand, so I appreciate a discussion.
Oh, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of discussion on that.
Okay.
So that's, if you
So,
want to act on that.
let's vote on the extension to September 14th.
Motion.
Motion by George, second
Second.
by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. And then you have, let's see, Claire. You have Puccio.
Yes, number 17.
Laundromat, number 17.
That's August 24th. They're still waiting on their town engineer on that site plan.
Okay. He must be very busy because we have 3 of Anthony's waiting.
Yeah, he is busy.
Swamped. Okay, motion on the
Motion.
17th to August 24th by Kate, second
Sec-
by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. You have 18, the Long Island Resource Corp.
Yes, that's an extension till August 24th. We'll probably have the discussion on that on August 10th. But again, the town engineer is just receiving the revised plans, and then they have need time to review it.
Okay.
That was the fire department
And
concerns.
the fire district, a fire marshal also.
Yes.
On the issue of the battery storage.
Yeah.
So that was
Okay.
good. So we'll need referrals back on those two.
Okay, motion to extend that to August 24th by Tom, second
Second.
by Gloria, and all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. And then something was off, Claire.
Yes,
Number
the
19.
two signed
21.
plans, yeah,
The 21 is off, Zarabi Family Trust.
and also Bideawee.
That was for signed
Num-
documents.
Number
So-
22 is off, and number, where is that? Zarabi. Oh, you took it off already? Okay. Okay, so we've taken care of all the extensions and everything that's off. Can we check where Christine is? Is she in her office?
Someone that's reaching out to her.
Okay.
Do you, we could do the moratorium.
You'll take that language
yeah,
from us? Okay.
Yeah, so I guess I wasn't here last meeting, but Janice had handled the initial comments on the
Correct.
first iteration on the moratorium on the
Cor-
best storage.
correct. Yeah,
Something I'd like Christine to.
Yeah,
comment.
Christine should be here for that. Let's wait for her.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine, that's fine. Do you wanna do
What if-
maybe some setting public hearings or something, or completenesses?
Yeah, we can set some public hearings.
Okay,
Claire?
so I can do mine, and then if
Okay.
anybody else has any.
Yep, where are you?
What
Which
number?
one?
I have the 625 Butter Lane. You also need Christine for that one?
Is there an applicant here? 625?
No, they're not gonna be here. They understood that they're gonna set a public hearing at their
Okay.
request.
What number is that, Claire?
That is number, I have 15.
I have
Yeah.
15 on the original documents that we
Yeah.
got.
Yeah.
Okay, Bridge Petroleum,
No,
No.
625 by the
By
way.
the way.
sorry, 15.
Yeah, you wanted more current version?
Yeah, the current version also has 625, it's 15.
Yeah, number 15, yeah. So we're gonna set a public hearing for that for,
I have
September 25th is what was in the
September
packet.
28th,
Eight.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't read my own writing.
so our dates in September are what, Kristen? September
14th and 28th.
14, 28. Okay, so we're gonna set a public hearing for 625 Butter Lane, September 28th. Motion?
Motion.
Motion by Gloria,
Second.
second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And after all that, I don't have the Verizon, we're just getting it printed out right now.
Okay.
So we need to wait on that. I think something else, we could take Peconic Beverage, I don't think that's
Yeah,
very
that's,
controversial.
I think so.
That's number 3, and I
Okay.
have the report. This is the updated staff report, if you mind passing that down, and this is the decision. That's the one we discussed at the last meeting, on last meeting I was here for, June 22nd. And we were awaiting some clarification about the issue of the DPW's comments related to upgrading the sidewalks for ADA
Oh, right,
compliance.
right.
So the applicant provided some language to the town attorney's office, and myself, and on that, I actually called the DPW yesterday, spoke to Ken Danzig, who's been there for 20-plus years. he agreed with me that it never needed to be referred in the first place because there's
Oh.
no buildings being constructed.
Okay.
And so I'm just making that finding. I think it's on page, I kind of highlighted it.
Page number 3.
Welcome,
Uh,
Christine.
Page 3. Page 3 is the DPW comments. And then page 6, and I'm going to put it some another place here, are the comments that I said related to this. The DPW was sent a referral in error as part of the municipal law. Only building permits for buildings require a referral, and this proposal is a change of use in an existing, I'm going to say in an existing building.
So that issue is resolved.
Yes. So therefore, they're upgrading the sidewalks so the ADA access compliance is not required.
Mhm.
I also go on, we pointed out when we saw the Google Maps in our meeting, that there's a big old utility pole right in the middle, so it makes it difficult to actually even design
To do
something
that.
without
Mm-hmm.
additional fees. So I think that the applicant was fine with that, so we could just go over the conditions and
Sure.
issue approval here?
Yeah,
This would be pretty straightforward. It's, any changes needed from the fire safety, this would be related to like fire lanes and things like that.
Claire, I'm sorry, but I've lost you. I didn't see anything that you just talked about.
Okay.
The changes to the DPW.
Did you
Am I
It's
in
on
the-
page 6, in the
Page
middle,
6 of the
it's
report.
gray highlighted on the staff report itself.
Yeah, no, it's not here.
on the here it is. Page 6.
Page
Page
six.
6,
page
okay,
six,
sorry,
yeah,
I'm looking
not
at
three,
page
6.
3.
Yeah.
Page 3 are the DPW comments, and then when you go through the site plan
It's
standards,
here.
that's
Thank
when
you.
you analyze
Yep.
any comments you've got back.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
go ahead, Claire.
So I'm also referring to the second page of the decision. The first page is all the explanation of how we got here. And then the second page is any conditions related to this. This is a fully reviewed site plan. You as a board have looked at this several times, so a lot of it meets your standards. The only thing in this case is 1A is my typical statement, any changes to the plans, but the second statement is fire safety and fire comments will be addressed. And then general conditions that HVAC systems should be screened, no dust lighting fixtures, lighting should be shielded, and no public address or sound system. That's a standard in the site plans. Affidavit, 6 sets of plans, and all non-conforming lighting should be brought into conformance prior to the town code.
2 quick questions.
Sure.
They don't plan another sign, do they?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know that at this point. Probably a sign for business, I would imagine.
And we're okay with the handicap space, because the handicap space is as you just come in to the right.
The handicap space is up with the retail, and there's no public component to this use. Tim, I
It's-
think we spoke about
I
this
think it's
last time.
wholesale, right? Okay,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's wholesale.
Yeah, it's Matt Ivan, Suffolk Environmental.
Just,
Yeah,
just give us your name, please,
Sure.
for the record.
Matt Ivan, Suffolk Environmental, for the applicant, but yeah, it's only wholesale. So that's it. yeah.
And what about signage?
Yeah, they're actually putting up a sign, but do you need that information, Claire? or-
Yes,
Okay.
well,
I mean, you
I mean,
could make
Frank-
signage as a condition if you'd like.
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
I mean, the application's just for the change in tendency, but, yeah. Yeah.
Because there's a
no,
big
that's fine.
sign out there already, so.
Right, and so if there was a pool business in there before, say Pools Unlimited or whatever it's called, now it's gonna be, whatever referencing
let's see
this
it.
business, so. Okay,
Could you just
Okay.
put that, the sign would be the same size?
Yeah, all
As
of the
the other-
conditions of the
yeah.
sign, yep. So Claire would put that in a condition that has to comply.
right, so under
to
the general
sign,
conditions,
And approved by the planning board.
sign shall be reviewed and approved by the planning board.
Yep,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, any more questions on this? Okay, if not, motion to approve the Peconic Beverage 2023. Motion by Craig, second by
Second.
Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you.
Okay.
I only, I just want to see, is your team here now? Not entirely.
We're just waiting for our engineer to
Okay,
come.
because we have our consultant also we gotta wait for that.
Okay.
No, we're good, I just wanted to put the end there if I could.
So Claire, do you just want to move?
Yeah, we'll just go in order.
In order number 5,
Yep.
3-5 Montauk.
Yeah, we can do that. You got some plans? I'm here. Great, and you just identify yourself. Tara, is it okay if she sits on the table, or?
Oh,
Good.
Sure. It's better audio.
I'm coming up.
That makes it different.
Charles, a voice.
The voice of
The
God.
voice of God has spoken.
Tara Nakimi, 30 Main Street, Southampton. I'm here on behalf of the applicant today. So I submitted a letter to Claire. I don't know if everybody on the board has a copy of it, or if I should just go through it.
Yeah, maybe you should go through it. I
Okay.
didn't print copies of it.
No problem.
But
And
the
site
substance
plan-
of it is in the resolution, what I have prepared.
Yeah, 'cause
Should I pass out? They don't have the updated site plans, do they?
No, if you could pass that out, yep.
I can take it and pass it down.
Okay. There's 5 copies.
We'll share.
We can share one, that's fine. That's no
Two
big deal.
pages per set, sorry.
1 and 2.
Yes, I'm gonna pass. Okay, sorry.
I'll look at what you.
Yes.
So the reason, I've been before the board before already on this, and this is for the BMW property at 35 Montauk Highway. So
Two.
there is
Can you
an.
just hang on for a
I'm
second
sorry.
until we have the
What are we
documents?
supposed to be
There-
taking?
There are 2
Two
pages.
Just 2 pages.
And then pass
One
it
after
along.
the other.
Yes.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
All
welcome.
collated.
Claire, do we have a report?
We have a resolution
we can
that's
share
obviously
unless
in
you
the
want.
printer
She
downstairs.
wants one.
Can we pull it?
This happens to me every week. Otherwise, it's the 3-5 Montauk resolution. Yeah.
Do we have something up here?
We have
On the
nothing,
map?
there's nothing in the packet.
No, there was nothing in the packet. I had just received the plan. I had received the plan, which I did think made it into the packet, but I hadn't written the resolution yet, so, but I do have pictures, so you could go through that. And then you have your letter, right?
Mhm.
So just give us an overview, Claire.
Right, so the planning board had, the planning board had approved the site plan back in June 8th. And because of some comments from the fire marshal, the original site plan didn't refer to the parking or the fire lanes that were required and the truck turning lanes. So you had come up with some conditions related to that. And the applicant has, wants to discuss 3 of the conditions. One of them was that there be a sidewalk along the roadway. So if you, we can pull up the aerial and show
I
that.
have
Yeah.
2.
And we're gonna talk about circulation inside the, because I see that you've got in and out on the, in the eastern driveway, but only in on the,
Here we go. Oh, there's your, here's your letter too.
I
have
think
that.
that, one of these is before, one is after?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes, exactly.
so,
There,
Is it the
it's,
one adjoining?
It's still one way
That
in
shares the
here.
lot.
is it still?
But,
Yeah.
but
It's
it's,
both lanes,
well,
yeah.
it-
Which one are we looking at now?
how do we know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is in and out.
Yeah,
Which
this is first. So if you put that above the second one,
This is the revised?
The one with the fire truck
Yes.
on it is the,
yes. So this is what you've seen already, and this is updated.
And I think this is showing the two
Shows the
radius of
fire-
the fire truck.
Correct.
Okay, so the
Right,
fire
the
truck
second
is coming-
page shows
So
the
this
fire
is
truck.
only for a fire truck?
Correct. This is what the board asked that we show.
Okay, so will this be closed? I mean,
It's gonna be a one-way.
a one-way gate?
On the, what's called the east side, going in, and then one-way coming out, which was always part of the site plan. That is, so that's
So
continuing.
it's a circular,
Yes.
but this doesn't show
But is that for general access in and out of the site too, for cars coming in, or it's
Mhm.
just for
No, cars coming in too, but you wanted to see the fire trucks
making?
and making sure that they could get around, because there is an overhang here that's existing.
Yes.
And originally, there was some parking adjacent to that, but they've since eliminated that parking that's
I think
adjacent to
what's
that.
causing it is that the other access has two arrows going both in and out.
Right, and you've now requested that this be one-way going in with signage that's appropriate, which I think the applicant is willing to do the one-way in, one-way out.
Okay, because it doesn't, this revised site plan doesn't reflect that.
It doesn't, yes, no, but that would be still part of your condition that it does this.
Tom, a question for you as the traffic person. Is it typical to have a one-way entrance, because people are traveling west on the far side? Or is there a general practice with that where it's, the entrance would be on this side and an exit on the other side in the direction of traffic?
There's always
There
a
isn't?
set way to do it.
Okay.
I was looking at this, I mean, my driveway is where it is, and I was sitting there saying, is this better as the way in or the way out?
Oh, the way out.
'Cause it's very close to the intersection either
Right.
way, you can't move the driveway.
Yeah, it's kind of the location of where, yeah,
And
where the property is.
this is right at the merge area, I think it's difficult.
To make a left-hand turn
Either
across
way.
that is a little,
Well, our left hand, so you turn
If
out,
you're
would
going
be a little
in-
farther up the road.
Right, so it could be better there.
well, I'm saying a
Our
left
left
turn
turns out
in,
restricted.
I guess they would go to the other entrance.
I believe left turns out are restricted.
You're saying when you're heading east? Is that what you're saying,
Yeah.
when you're going east to
You'll-
make a
you'll
left
ne-
turn?
You'll never get into that.
I'm trying to recall turning in there.
Yeah. Jay, do you recall if left-hand
Maybe we could
turns
see the
heading
overhead.
east are permitted? If somebody's heading east,
Can-
they can make a left turn?
It's been like that, yeah.
Across the street, I think we've restricted, or the state has restricted.
Do you want to come up, give us your name for the record and join in the discussion? Did you give us your name?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Could you clarify on this new one, the one with the fire truck is the new with the circulation?
Your name, sorry,
Jay Decker, D-E-C-K-E-R.
Jay Decker.
He's the applicant, yes. Say it one more time.
Just to clarify, I want to make sure I'm oriented correctly. So it looks like the western entrance will be the in only, is that correct?
The
Yes.
western entrance is the in only.
Right.
And then it looks like it's in and out, but that's going to be revised on the eastern side as exit only? Or is that in fact in and out?
It's currently both
It's
right
currently
now.
both, but I mean, it's.
What is the proposed? I think
Been
that's
that
what we're
way
trying to
forever.
get.
It's just, we weren't
Yeah.
going to change it. It wasn't brought up
This wasn't
until,
one of the things, yeah, that was asked
yeah,
for us.
Okay.
it wasn't one of the conditions, and
But,
if it's being brought
but
up.
this point,
I sure
go
do.
entering this driveway when you are heading east, right? You take your life in your hands. You have to cross over an entire line of traffic.
It's
Am I
actually pretty
correct,
safe
Tom?
because the traffic's not moving.
Well,
It's actually,
That's
it's actually one of
true.
the safest
I think
places to
it's-
turn because traffic is stopped when somebody lets you go.
Well,
Except that it would have
I
stopped
don't
if
think,
there's no
obviously, we
space.
can't
I mean, I
move the
come that way all
driveways.
the time.
But that particular driveway is problematic.
It is
Whether it's an
very-
in or an out, because it's in a merge area.
3-5.
If I
Right.
have my geography right, we're just
Yeah.
beyond the merge
Yeah.
area.
No,
Could you
So
zoom
got
out?
Eastbound traffic merging
Oops.
and cars
Right.
in that merge stopping
It's
to
right
make the
there.
left turn.
yep.
Whether it's an in or an out, I think it's somewhat
Yeah,
problematic.
I mean, you've got, if County Road
Well, it's-
39 is backed up.
Using it for many, many, many years, I will tell you that the far entrance is definitely the one to leave from.
Mhm.
Exit.
Yeah.
Yes.
The eastern,
Closest to the
correct?
east.
Right.
Yeah.
If lefts are allowed, and you're saying it's right now pre-existing that lefts are allowed.
People can make a left out of there?
People
That's-
come and go,
Come
trucks
and
come and
go,
go,
yeah.
delivery trucks come and go, 18-wheelers come and go in and out of there.
Well,
It's-
I'd like to see a traffic report on that with accidents.
There's been no accidents there. I've been there 12 years. and Been no accident when I've been there.
Claire, do you have anything?
For traffic?
Yeah.
Well, this originally is a closure of an existing storage space. They were already storing cars here, and this will continue to be part of their showroom. So
That I understand, that front
technically,
part,
there would be
yeah.
no increase in traffic related to this.
But we have an opportunity here to help with the traffic situation,
Mm-hmm,
which is, as we all know, not the best.
mm-hmm, right.
And that,
So secret was completed. There was there was a recognition of this being a continuation of the existing situation when you,
But we obviously asked for some reconfiguration of the driveway, because that's what we're looking at.
yeah, so you had said in your original decision, to close, to make one way in, the one in the east to be one way in and the other one way out.
Right, one in and one out, but they're showing something different, that's why we're having this conversation.
Yes.
They're
yes.
showing arrows in and out,
Mm-hmm.
And then they're showing the other one in, which is the
in, which is
opposite
the
of what was
opposite, which we're saying
suggested.
it should be
That's why I
out.
was trying to,
Right.
is it that the drawing was done incorrectly?
Well, I think
Maybe.
it was, so it was supposed to be marked as, and let me just make sure that you guys have the most updated, because you should.
Both of these show the same thing,
The
so I
same
was
thing.
trying to
Dated
imagine if it was
July.
just
Yeah, I mean, this is
a
the most
drawing
updated
error.
version.
Right,
Showing one entrance in and one
Right.
way out.
and this doesn't show
And
that,
it was supposed to be marked as such, based on
okay.
C of your changes.
So it's just the opposite, as Kate said.
So it just needs to
So
update
you
the
need to
drawing so
update-
that we could approve that,
update
because
it.
that's logically what makes sense, and, you know, maybe a traffic study isn't needed, but just a common sense approach.
Yeah, so this would be in,
That would be in,
And this will
and
be
that
out.
would be out,
Right.
yeah.
And lefts are permitted.
Lefts are permitted, yeah.
There was no prohibition
yeah.
that's left.
So.
So we
in-
have to
in
revise that.
On the west, west entrance and out on the east.
That would make the most sense.
Right.
according to the condition.
So the easterly one is the in, the westerly one.
One is out.
No,
No,
Now the other
no,
way
it's
around.
the other way
The
around.
westerly one,
Westerly
so
one
if
is
you
in.
see,
In.
yeah, the westerly one is in here,
Right.
and then this way out, so it's.
I disagree.
You want it the other way?
Yes.
So
Well-
you guys want it going this way?
Well, I mean,
Yes.
that's,
Let me-
Well,
that's,
the only
That
problem.
makes sense.
Look, when they're
The
making
only problem you
lefts
have here is
out,
this is the service drive.
if they're
So
making
you're gonna have
lefts,
people come in over here, drive
Excuse-
all the way
is-
around the property to come back in over here. And I can tell you, just driving in and out of driveway every day, that the far east driveway is the more safer one to leave from, because you have a lot
Yeah,
more
but you can't make a
time.
left-hand turn out of there and cross
Everybody
traffic.
does- Everybody does all day long. I
Tom,
mean,
you
it's
would
been
go
this way
back?
since 1965.
Okay, we have some
Just because it
comments.
has been doesn't
Doesn't
mean that
mean it should
times
be.
haven't
But I
changed
drive
in
it
the
every
last
day.
10 or 20
If you're gonna make a
years.
left out of that driveway,
can we clarify how
you're
much
safer on
traffic
this
has
end than you
increased
are
since
here, because the
1965?
people are coming around,
Yeah,
going
Mr.
over here,
Decker?
and that's where everything merges, so now you got another couple hundred feet.
I mean, we
before you
could
pull
close
out.
that side altogether,
Tom,
and you can have
were
in and
gonna
out
say
right
something.
there.
Traffic is very different from what it was 12
Traffic
years
is
ago.
far different than it was in 1965.
I'm there every day.
I know, I'm sure you realize that.
The west side, when all the people coming around 27 onto 39A, if people are leaving from that side, it's very dangerous because you have these two coming in around the same area. So when
The
you're
turn,
over
you're
here, yeah, so when you're over here leaving,
Can you just
you
give
have
us
that much
the
more room.
here and there?
He's talking about
Just-
here.
Right.
He's saying that turning out from here is more dangerous because you've got the
Yeah.
merge from County
'Cause
Road
the-
39, the
Right.
2 lanes turning.
But
The
the
driveway
traffic is,
closer to the intersection, you're saying, is more difficult to
Correct,
make a left turn.
here.
To go
This
out,
one.
to go out.
Right.
I would
versus this
tend to
one.
agree, because you're
Yeah.
making a left turn into a merge area. So
yeah,
you've got cars, eastbound cars merging, at the
Right.
same time, your cars are coming in from,
Right,
The
so
left,
you're a couple
the-
hundred feet up the road when you're making.
Well, you could
Therefore,
say
that
no
should
left
be an
turn,
exit.
and they could be, it could say no left turn, they can go to the light and take a left and Flying Point and go around that way.
I don't know, we have the authority at this point to restrict the left turn, or if we want to execute that.
I think we need to look at the driveways, Claire. This is important, because this doesn't make, this doesn't reflect what we discussed.
Well, that was originally, it was discussed as,
leaving this as a, you know,
enter only next
Cool.
signs to be
This is-
indicated on the site plan with the east entrance being entrance only and the west entrance is being exit
So if you wanna
only.
park here,
So that's what you're
come over
showing.
Have you seen these?
I have seen that, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a plan.
this is for.
Yeah, the issue with the fire marshal was circulation,
Circulation,
right?
turning radiuses and
Yep.
what have you.
And with
Yeah.
the enclosure that's being proposed, it prevents really what would be the best approach, I think, is closing off this other driveway, because then you don't have the circulation to have this be an in and out as the only
'cause
You're talking
there's
about
some
this one
parking
over
and
here.
Correct, the
some
eastern.
missing in and out.
But
Give
it,
people a chance to come all the way here.
it then
all the way
prohibits
here.
you from doing the exact action that brought this whole conversation up in the first place, I'd
Right.
imagine, because you don't have that
Well,
circulation.
that's-
Handicap
yeah.
spot, you
Well,
wanna
there's
get in
plenty of
the handicap
circulation
spot.
for the fire trucks. I mean, 18-wheelers come and go
But for the use of,
all day long.
but for
you
the
know,
use
10
of the
cars.
showroom,
there
Jay.
is
Pull
the
in,
action
pull
there.
around, they pull out.
But for your use, for BMW's use, to be
Mhm.
able to come in and go around, is to be able to come in, when somebody comes in, to be able to come in and exit
Yeah, that's-
versus come in and only exit.
yeah, it's-
Can I,
And
is
then-
this entrance, the one to the bottom of the plan, is that, where's your service department located? Where people drop their cars off? and-
Service.
Well, right now, they're located around the block at the other building.
Okay.
So they're gonna be pulling into there and driving through the extension you see on the little further back.
They're gonna
The
be pulling in
overhang.
the eastern entrance.
Well, that
I mean,
might-
if we can reference east and west, I think we'll all
So
be on the
east is
same
the one-
page.
They should, well, they should be pulling in on the western entrance, because you see the building where it sticks out there where the
Yeah.
overhang is, that's where the service drive is gonna be in, that's already there. So they'll be pulling right in there, driving straight in through that part of the building.
Because I see that there's a certain amount of logic in having, you already have a two-way in and out on the eastern entrance, right? And if you look at where all your parking, your handicap spots, you have a lot of parking on that property line plus the back where people who really want to just come in for some reason, it's easier for them to get to those parking spots than coming through your service entrance and going around. So it's kind of easier to leave that as a two-way entrance and maintain this one as an out only.
As an out
So
only.
even your service vehicles, when they're coming, they do have to come in and come
Mhm.
around. But, you know, but that also keeps it clear for fire vehicles. So I guess I'm seeing some logic in keeping it the way it is, which is this one for out only and the other one for in and out, because people who are just coming to visit Sherman Park, they have access to more parking,
Mhm.
coming in that
Yeah.
eastern entrance rather
Why
than
are we
coming
talking
in,
about
going
the
around,
piece that's
interrupting where
in
your service,
with
where your
conjunction
service
with
is.
So you have to correct this map, because you have the lower driveway as in, and
It
we're
should be
saying it
one.
should be out.
Site, no?
Okay.
And I'm
That's fine.
suggesting that we
That
leave
is-
that we leave the eastern entrance also in and out.
In and
So,
out,
yeah.
and then out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Would you
So
be,
east
is that
and
sound,
in and out,
would you be okay
and
with that?
west out.
Easements.
The western one is out only. So
Yes.
service vehicles can come in there, they will have to make the circle around, but, you know, that's,
That's
But
okay.
yeah, I'm just,
but if it's
So
out
that means
only,
In, they can
they're
only
not
go
gonna
in
be
from
able to
here.
make a left turn to go east.
No.
Which is, that's,
Okay.
this one could
I'm
say
not
no
worried
left
about
turn,
that.
because if they need to go the left-hand turn, they should be using the other exit.
right,
Right,
exactly.
mhm.
So this one should
Yeah,
have no
and-
left turn.
No
Okay.
left turn.
Yeah, and then what we will do with with your western entrance, if the one closest to us would be a no left turn there. So if somebody really needs to go, make a left turn, they go back out and go through the,
Right.
Make
Yeah.
a left
Two-way
and flying
entrance.
point
yes,
Mhm.
at the light.
yeah.
No, that's not what we're saying, making a left
No, if you need to make a left turn out of the facility,
on the east,
they can't
Right.
go out.
Oh, you're talking about the eastern?
yes.
Right.
We'd put a no left turn on the western
Mhm.
Okay.
exit. So if your service department needs to go back out and make a left turn for some reason, or anybody else, they go back around
Go
and go through
around
the
the
eastern
property
entrance.
and-
and
yeah.
then
Or-
come
We
back.
can go out the other side.
But that's
too.
safer,
But
isn't
we
it?
can go out the other side too.
Well, you
on
can
my
go the
guy.
other side.
The problem we have is all the people using my property as a cut-through.
Okay.
Well, are you closing that
all
or
day
The
no?
cross-access
Yeah,
part?
because people pulling off of 39, off of 39 and drive through the whole place to get out on the other side thinking they're gonna pass, you know,
Okay.
20 cars.
No,
I mean,
trust me,
it's crazy.
every
get
private,
gas and
every
coffee
private
and
road.
Well, they,
Yeah, right?
and then
They
they
come
go
through
through my
and go-
place, so
yeah,
they're gonna
yeah.
go to Hampton Coffee, they just use it as a
Oh,
cut-through.
to go
When they see the
around.
traffic
Do
back
you have
over the
any
light,
kind
they
of a
just pull.
blockade there?
Well, I have
It's
signs that say
parking.
employees
It's
only.
It's your
and things like
parking,
that, but
it's your parking space.
But there's a cross access,
Yeah.
so you can't really.
All four of those properties are connected, so they pull
Yeah.
in over by Hampton Coffee, and then they try to scoot all the way around.
Right.
I
So
have
can we
people driving through all the
take a
time,
look
I'm
at
like,
this,
worried about my-
I would use it going west
Report?
when the
Yeah.
traffic backs up.
Oh, yeah, so go that way, you go the other way. Okay, I'm looking for you.
Well,
So-
that's the way I
So
come
everybody
here.
comes over that chain,
Yeah, just the opposite of what I have
Yeah.
here. you know.
but so we're really keeping it.
Yeah.
right?
So we
Except this
agree-
is gonna be out.
So
this is
in and
to-
out in the easternmost portion,
And out only.
out only and no left turn signage.
In only and no,
No, out.
No, out.
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 Yes, yes.
Out only and no left turn sign.
Got it.
And if you have dyslexia, you have a problem. Okay, Claire, do you want to go through the report?
Sure. So, what I say is that there was a decision on June 8th. There's a couple other things you want to discuss, right?
The
But
park, did we resolve parking
Yeah.
questions
Yes.
and issues?
the
and-
parking looks good, right?
Okay,
It's
parking.
the, that they show now on the plans, all the parking, on the sites. And, they reflect, as we talked about, the fire, truck and the truck access. So then, and we talked about the entranceways, so the only thing, in addition to what you said, was the no left-hand turn on the west one,
And that becomes an exit only, right?
exit only. Yeah, which you had said originally anyways, so that's good. Now, you wanted sidewalks, because Audi has a sidewalk, and I'll just show that.
We wanted to hook in.
You wanted to hook it in, and the applicant is saying that there's some really nice trees in that area.
I have
Um,
pictures, too.
Yes, and I also
I think
had
your trees are on the
pictures.
property, right, not in the right of way.
Well,
There,
if you run the sidewalk straight from where it is,
Mm-hmm.
the sidewalk's all the way over here
You'll
in front of
run
Audi.
into-
So essentially, I have another picture too, just to help.
I don't think it'll hit that tree.
Or might-
It's also utility poles.
no, it won't
It's-
hit the tree, but it'll be under the
roots.
utility.
You're
pole
essentially
and-
coming between
Yeah,
the
I see
tree.
a blow up.
Yeah, oh, there
Yeah.
you go, yeah.
There's a tree root here. I mean, I did a site visit myself, because I wanted to see it myself, just to look closer. And the way that if you were to continue this sidewalk this way, there is a tree root here, and there are utility poles, and there's this utility pole here as well, so.
And then when you go on the other side of the driveway, you got the other three big trees
So
like that.
what would you recommend?
Well, I mean, if you really wanted it, I guess I just have to move it down, but people are gonna be walking underneath the traffic
There's a
signs and all
sign
that,
there.
I mean.
Well, signposts
Yeah.
can be moved quite easily.
Mm-hmm.
We did that in Bridgehampton when we had a lot
Okay,
of
as long
sidewalk
as you
up there
can do that.
recently. Now, utility poles and trees are a little more challenging, but that's where
I mean,
maybe
I'll
you
figure
have
a
to
way
get
to
a
get 'em.
civil engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'll figure a way to get them in,
Yeah,
as long
do
as
it-
you, as
do
long
it-
as you get the traffic signs moved,
Which
I'll
was
figure a
Do
way
a
to
drawing,
get them going
right.
across the front.
Is that a
That's probably a
state?
state sign.
So
Yes.
can, who can move a state sign?
Well, I would think if you're in the state right away, you're gonna have to, this is gonna have to get permission from the state to put these sidewalks in anyway.
What was the situation with the property to the east?
It was just a vacant lot, so we just ran this, you know, what you wanted the sidewalk, we just ran this.
No, the Audi? Are you
Yeah.
Audi also?
Yes.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Oh.
So which
Yeah,
one's a better car?
monopoly.
Both.
Which one do you want is the better car?
Um,
But yeah, that was just a vacant lot. I don't know if you remember that house that was there back in the,
Yeah.
you know, a long time ago. So that whole lot was just empty, and so when you put the sidewalk, it was easy.
Okay,
That
well,
other
maybe-
sidewalk may be on your property, I don't know whether it was on.
Which
if-
one?
with The one,
By
the
the
Audi.
Audi.
The one in
deal.
front of Audi.
Yeah, that's the.
That
Audi.
would have been different. If this is in the state right of way, I'm sure you have to get a state permit, which means they're gonna have to review any plans. If this one's
Put the
actually in the
sidewalk in.
state right of way and not on your property,
It's in the state right away, I'm pretty
It
sure,
is.
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna.
Is it, where does the property line end?
Yeah, well, you can see it on these plans, it's shown where it's gonna be outside the property line here.
You can see that this tree is very close to that.
That's the property line.
Quite often, the
Between
utility
these is
poles
trees.
are kind of the informal
Oh, I
markers
see,
of the
I
right
This is
of
the
way.
pool,
Okay.
and they don't
Right.
show the
Not
traffic
always
sign.
100%, but usually.
That
that's
makes
kind of
sense.
the
No,
outer
then you
edge.
start
I
getting
wonder
too
if
close
you
to
can even
the
see
tree,
it.
you might damage your roof.
Is the concern and the need for the sidewalk, is it just for pedestrian access? Is that the reason the board would want the sidewalk?
think-
I'm just curious,
yeah.
just because.
I
Mhm.
mean, I think we're trying to do that, you know,
Wherever
wherever
we
possible.
can.
Make
Okay.
it, you know,
You
less
can see-
auto-centric and more for pedestrians and bicyclists. Bicyclists can actually
Okay.
ride on sidewalks in Southampton
Yeah,
town.
start bringing people onto your
I
property.
mean, I guess the other
on your
option would
sidewalk
be
and
to kind
they
of
sit them on the line.
leave it so that we can go in between, but
A lot of
it
people don't
It
put
loo- it
sidewalks
looks
on
like-
the
Well, we
property.
could go
It's
back
showing
around,
it.
we could go back
Or
around
behind
the
the
tree
tree.
too.
could go behind the tree.
That's where, you know, civil engineers,
You know.
sometimes they bend.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah,
know.
the path can bend, it's
But
Yeah,
that's
always
we,
nice.
we can bend
That's
it
putting
back
it on your
around the
property, and
tree.
you're okay with that?
What was it?
That's putting it on your property? If you go around
Yeah.
the tree?
Because the Audi is on his property. The
Is it?
Audi
Maybe you put a
is on his
sidewalk right
property.
up to the
So it
door.
looks like the pole is the right of way, and this
Heated
sign
Somebody
for the-
veer.
Heated for the winter
Is
time,
on
so
his
to shovel
property.
it.
The utility pole, right, Claire?
The pole's near is the right of way, the sign is on his
The
property.
post is probably like
This
right
is-
on the line, or,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they bring surveys out with them, I know they do when
Yeah.
they put in the
Yeah.
utility.
So, to move the
The
sign,
pole's here shown here, the sign isn't shown on this plan.
the sign isn't shown, yeah, but I zoomed in a little bit and you can see that the pole
There's
is
different
definitely
ways they
outside.
can, the state can
Well,
handle.
so the
or
issue at hand is
have
that
you
you're
handle it.
willing to accommodate our request to extend the sidewalk and work with the DOT and a civil engineer as needed to incorporate that into the site plan?
Correct, or,
Okay.
like I just said,
So
I don't
that's all.
mind running it back around
Right,
the
he'll
trees.
figure it out then.
It's all on my property, I'll
Sounds
just
like-
run it around, back around the trees.
Sure,
Saying,
but
come over here.
Yeah, if the board is okay with,
Yeah.
with him going this way
Sure.
instead of.
It looks better, actually.
yeah, if it's an engineered,
And-
we
and
just want the
getting away from
sidewalk,
the edge of
so if you're willing to do it and then figure out how you wanna do it and tell us how you're gonna do it, then I think then we can move
If you
forward,
have
right?
If you have a
Like-
sidewalk
Simpler if
on
you do
your
it
property.
On your own property, it's.
It's on
much
his
simpler.
property, the
Yeah.
Audi.
But that would
Yeah,
be your
but then,
Right.
but I think
Is that-
that's right, if we, you know, if we just had some kind of assurance that you were gonna work on that sidewalk.
Can be
without
part of the
any-
conditions in the resolution? Yeah, we don't have to figure it out, the logistics right now.
No, you can
so
show
just-
it and work with the DOT of like exact location, you know,
Sure,
I think
yeah.
that's all good, that's through the process.
Christine, if he has a sidewalk on his property, is he then subject to liability and slash maintenance? Or,
It's a little bit more complicated, I can't just tell you. He would be in the chain.
I mean, I've been
He
maintaining
would
that,
be
I don't know
sued,
if this is
but-
on my property or the state's
It is.
property, but
Yes,
I've
it's
been
yours.
maintaining
Yeah.
that one since we put it in, yeah. Because it's still in front of my business, you know,
You
so
want
I'm
it to
gonna
look good.
maintain it anyway, yeah. I think it's one of the nicest buildings in town,
I agree.
you know? You had so much.
We did have issues. We were quite surprised with the red object.
Oh, yeah, the
inside
red
the-
object is.
Yeah, that was
you're not allowed to butter up
controversial.
the board.
So, do we have cross-access here?
Yes, easements,
Okay.
formal cross-access easements.
So can we go over these conditions, Claire, given,
So I think what we're seeing is that they're pretty much meeting your
The park-
conditions so far. We're just gonna add the left-hand turn prohibition on the west entrance so far. They're gonna work with them for the DOT. The last thing I think is the landscaping, which they're showing boxwoods here, which is great. I was looking for some ornamental plantings here or some boxwoods like that. But I'd be happy with some grasses shown here too, so if you have room,
This,
so.
you're talking about this area right over here?
No,
This center
I'm
area?
talking about this
The
area in
front?
front.
Oh, the front.
So,
area.
okay.
Yeah, do you
So
want me
I-
to, I can show it on the,
Yeah,
on
because there's a
Google Earth.
planting, yeah, there's a planting on the right side there,
Let's see.
that's got that's got grasses and boxwoods in it.
Google Street View. See, this is what I'm talking about. It's pretty blank here. I think some softening here since this is gonna be now formally closed. Some either boxwoods that like proposed on the other side or some ornamental grasses infilled, you
Yeah,
know.
that's
just-
no problem.
Yeah, I thought so.
Tim did all the design on the other side
Mhm.
that you see.
Yeah, he did a great job.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
so
not a
something
problem.
similar to that.
I think there's a planting on the right-hand side that it doesn't show in that picture, though, but. Oh, yeah.
There's
right there,
something
Yeah.
here
Yeah.
that's low.
Yeah.
But
That's
there's
boxwoods
nothing
and-
here.
And grass, yeah.
Yeah, so either low boxwoods, like 3 foot tall, just
Yeah.
like the other side.
Like we did a portion.
Yeah, so, you can update that. That's my thought on that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I think we're good. And then you're gonna screen the, that compactor,
It's already
which
ordered.
is
Yeah.
totally.
They already
that's
ordered roll of fence
usual.
3 weeks ago from
Signage?
Riverhead.
And then signage. Oh, yeah,
Yes.
we wanted to talk about signage, right?
Okay, before we talk, Claire, so you're gonna amend that second point about the exits?
Yeah.
You need a revi- you need a
Because it's completely
revised site
different from
plan.
what's actually shown there on that.
Right, exactly, because what they're showing on this latest plan is the in, we want the out, obviously, and then we need to.
Yes, I'll make sure everything's
Okay.
revised
Yeah,
to show
yeah,
properly.
the east entrance is gonna be in and out, and the west entrance is gonna
Gonna
be
be
in
out
only.
only.
Out only with a no exit, no left turn
No
sign.
left turn sign.
Right, exactly,
So the no exit sign at the east entrance is no longer required, because you
Mhm.
can't exit.
right, exactly.
And the third bullet, the DOT approval would only be needed if it was in right, obviously, if it's on your property.
Right.
You don't need, subject to approval from the DOT if required.
Yeah, that's right, I can say that. Okay.
So sign.
Signage?
So signage, yeah, so I did speak to Marjorie, Riley regarding the signage. She looked at everything, she said everything was okay. Show everything to the board as well.
Oh, just be careful with the microphone.
The
there.
microphone.
The microphones.
It's okay.
Thanks.
So I can hold it up like this for
Okay,
you.
so the BMW of Southampton with the logo is on the building?
It will
Yes.
be, it's currently there.
So
No,
that,
well, it used to be there.
This
but
is
that's-
not there right
That's
now.
been down. If you look at the front
what
of
will be, do you have a, it will be there?
It
the.
will be
On the
there.
building
Yeah,
in the
top-
front?
The
Yes.
top portion.
The fascia
right
in the
middle
front there?
Yeah.
So it used to be up, but it's down right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Well,
took
it used to
everything
say-
down.
It used to say mini, so we took it down. It's in the exact same spot across the
I'll
front.
show you where this shows you better what it looks like.
It's
Sorry,
attached.
it's attached, give me a second. Let me turn this on. That's the way the building looks here,
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
proposed, if you can see it.
Yeah.
And then, service over here.
Now, where is that sign going to be?
Above, where the service is gonna be above where the carport is. Is that right,
Yes,
Jeff?
kind of set
Yeah.
that on the
Claire,
driveway.
another sign, a second sign?
It says both,
Show,
oh, can only have one.
you can only
facing
have
the road.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You okay letting go of this one?
I knew they weren't
Keeping
gonna
this one?
accept it anyway.
Okay.
I know, Claire. But they put it on this.
But the ARB would-
But this way,
Okay.
when you can put it in the minutes, because I'm gonna have to send it to the
Yeah,
Germans,
corporate,
so they'll
corporate.
understand that
Yeah.
it's not allowed.
So, that's
Right.
good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's typical with a little.
And is it a lighted, backlighted sign, or what is
It's
it?
got very low
Low lighted.
lightage across the bottom. It's, you almost, you gotta come by when it's really, really dark, you can see it. It's like a strip across. It's
like a
built-
wash?
It's built in the sign in here, like in between this piece of pipe and down in here.
So
It's the
it
same one that's on there now,
shines up?
basically.
Mhm.
It's not a dark skies.
No, it's not,
Problem.
no.
It's not a spotlight or
Yeah, it's
anything
not,
like
no,
that.
it's,
And we're not gonna get a
It's
big
just a
red
shadow.
triangle somewhere, right? It's-
no.
No, because
No
of the
red
colors.
triangles. They may
Yeah,
have a
these are the
blue
colors.
something, but no red
yeah, blue,
triangles.
not
Blue, white, and
red.
black.
This is-
Yeah.
No triangles.
Okay. Okay. So Claire, do we wanna put the signage?
Just the wall sign, right?
Just the one wall
Right.
sign. So we'll put that in the condition, Claire?
Yeah. I'll make a finding related to it too. Okay, so with the conditions, I'd be changing it to be, the east entrance would be enter and exit. The west entrance would be exit only, but no left-hand turn sign appropriate. The landscaping they're gonna work on, it'll be on there. And then the signage would be one wall sign and,
As shown.
as shown on this plan. I'm good with that, if you want to act on it.
And the sidewalk, you have the sidewalk.
Oh, and the
in there.
sidewalk is as saying that only
Same.
changes if required
Okay, great.
from the DOT.
Any other questions from you or comments? Anything more from the board? Okay, let's move this. Moved by George, second by Tom, all in favor. Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate
Thanks
it.
for working with us.
Thank you. I'll submit everything to Claire.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, and then then the plan board would sign it.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Take care.
Thanks.
Take care, thank you.
Okay. Claire, do you want to move on to Pueblo Grocery?
Actually, Anthony's gonna step in for
Oh, okay,
7-Eleven.
okay. So we're moving to number 10, 911 Flanders.
If it's okay, could we have some boards we wanted to show them.
Yeah, well, you could do that. I'm going to get our consultant to start the conversation. We're going to go through his report first.
Oh, you want to do that first?
Yeah.
Okay, because I just wanted to, have, some of the board members are new, and we've made some changes to the site plan since we were last here. So we just wanted to have the engineer just go through and show the board
Well,
members.
what do you want to do, the traffic report first? Yeah, yeah.
Wanna do that first?
Let's just do
Let's
it.
do the traffic report first.
No problem. I have a hard copy for everybody here.
Thank you.
Charles, can you see if Matthew Carmody is here from AKRF?
Oh, he's coming in by Zoom.
By Zoom, yeah.
It's coming in.
Okay. Put some maps up to the board, something to look at.
Welcome.
Share.
Good afternoon.
We don't have audio on you.
Is there?
There we go. Yep.
All right, so let me just,
All good, thank you.
Give us your name, please, for the record.
Matthew Carmody from AKRF Incorporated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
so just so the board understands, so, we're all familiar with the project. We retained a traffic consultant, AKRF, to assist this board with the secret review for this project. And they were retained. The big issue for this project, it's on the traffic circles, everybody knows, are potential traffic and safety impacts as relates to the project. AKRF has prepared a draft report that was forwarded to this board. It was also forwarded to the applicant. So we have now Matthew from AKRF who's going to go through the report with the board and their recommendations. And I'm sure the applicant is obviously, as you know, wants to speak as well. So we'll let you take it over from here, Matthew.
All right, thanks, Anthony. The traffic study that was submitted does not adequately give this board the information it needs to determine whether this project is going to generate traffic that's going to be excessive, or whether it needs mitigation or not, or whether it's going to cause there to be worsened safety on the roadways. Because it has taken a number of credits that downplay the amount of traffic that would be generated, and our recommendation would like for the consultant to respond to some of the credits that they've taken. Number one, the traffic counts were collected during COVID. When they were adjusted sort of backwards to state DOT traffic and not adjusted all the way up to when they were counted. Then once the traffic was estimated for the gas station and convenience store, it used the lower of the two projections from the Institute of Transportation Engineers for a facility like that. Another credit that was taken is called the pass-by credit. Is a common credit to be taken for a retail establishment, which is that not everybody that is destined to this facility is coming there as their only destination. Many people driving by a 7-Eleven decide to stop and or get gas. But the credit that was taken was excessively high. It was 75% of the traffic would already be passing by and just decide to enter. We were interested in that number and where it came from, so we contacted the regional department office of the New York State DOT, because Flanders Road is on state highway, and they were not consulted on that number of 75% credit for pass-by, and they told us that it seemed high. As a result of the credits that were taken, and it downplayed the amount of traffic that would be generated to a point where the traffic study justified no analysis of any public intersections. It only analyzed the turns in and out of its own driveway. So in summary, we don't feel that that gives this board sufficient information to discuss the traffic effects of the project or the safety effects. So I'll just stop because that's kind of a high-level summary. There are more detailed that we get to in the Q&A, but that's a summary of the review report that we conducted.
Great, thank you, Matthew. Did you have some questions, Tom?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do have a
Okay.
number of questions. I could
Yeah,
throw them
yeah,
out
that's
now
Tom.
to
Yeah.
our
That's Matthew.
to Matthew or to the applicant. Let me just put these out there, and you folks can answer them as you see fit. One, just out of curiosity, page 2, you talk about unsignalized intersections versus, you do your analysis based on unsignalized intersection from referencing ITE. Is there anything done on roundabouts? Because to me, an unsignalized intersection and a roundabout are not the same thing. So I'm just curious. I don't know if roundabout information is out there or not, but I'd be interested to learn about that.
Let's see if Matthew can respond to that. Matthew, do you have some?
Yeah. The analysis of a roundabout is different. It's a different module within the highway capacity software. So yeah, it has different operational characteristics, and there is sometimes specialized software used. We recommend the use of VISM or Synchro software. The traffic impact study used just the basic highway capacity software, but didn't analyze the roundabout, as I said, in the first place.
Okay, and let me just say, Matthew, I'll certainly defer to you as our expert on this stuff, if some of these comments are worth pursuing or not worth pursuing. So that was one question, whether this data should be using roundabout data as opposed to unsignalized intersection. Looked at the, and if I'm stepping on any things you already found, I apologize. I made these notes when I first read this a while back. I think starting your analysis at 7 a.m. is too late. If you look at the DOT data, 6 a.m. hour and 7 a.m. hour, the difference is, I think, 20 vehicles. And I think 6 to 9 is a lot more appropriate to look at than 7 to 9. Also, I found it was interesting, and I think it's A10 in your technical appendix, the traffic volumes, and I'm talking eastbound on 24, Flanders Road, the traffic volumes midday are heavier than they are during what we consider, your classic drive time. I don't know how that comes to be, but 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. or something, or 2 p.m., the traffic volumes were at least as high or higher than the 6 to 9 a.m. period, which I was quite surprised to see. Whether that impacts any of this, I'm not sure. Something to consider. In your background discussions, you talked about background growth of 1%. When I worked for the town as the transportation director and working with the DOT, we were using, and it was a DOT number of 2.25% annual traffic growth. Now, they may have changed. I haven't worked for the town for a couple of years. They may have changed their calculations, but what they used to use and what I think is in our town comprehensive plan document is an annual traffic growth rate of 2.25% as opposed to 1%. There was also a statement that the DOT said that traffic volumes, I believe, were declining in Southampton town. Now, the only thing I can think there is perhaps the rate of growth is declining, but there is a statement in there, I think on page 4, that says that traffic volume is declining in Southampton town, and I don't know anybody that would say that's a valid comment in the town of Southampton, so you might want to take a look at that. Also, page 5 said there were no planned projects. We have a Riverside redevelopment plan that the town is preparing to at some point implement, and that's not mentioned. I don't know if it was considered at all, but I think it's on the town website, if I'm not wrong. So we should maybe look at that Riverside redevelopment plan when you look at planned projects in the area. Another question I had, and I think, Matthew, you touched on it in one of your points here, is the line of sight from the roundabout to the driveway on the State Route 24 side, the Flanders Road side, maybe also on the Riverly, but I was kind of focused on the Flanders Road side. I'd like to wonder about what that line of sight is to make sure that it's appropriate distance for safe entrance and exits.
Tom, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you, the comments that you're referring to, are they referring to the AKRF report that analyzes, or to the
Most of my
original
comments
traffic
are based on
study?
their original.
The original study? Okay.
Well, the applicant's traffic study.
The
The
applicant's
traffic
original study,
So
okay, because
again,
I was like
may be-
looking on page 4 and 5 of the
I'm sorry,
AKRF.
no,
I just wanted, I said, like,
it's
wait
the
a second, I'm
applicant's
not sure I'm
original study,
following.
and again,
Thank
I
you.
may be either duplicating or stepping on some of what Matthew had here. Again, we may be past that because you're asking for updated traffic study information, but as you noted, it was done on COVID and then upped by, I think, 1%, which I thought was too low. I'd also be very curious if we were to use that data. One of the things we found in Southampton town is that weather affects traffic counts. And I believe these traffic counts, some of this data was just done on one single day. I also found a couple of things that a little confusing between the free flow capacity, or what the capacity, the volume of traffic on some of these counts were. And I would say, I looked at the DOT data, and I believe it said it was, the measurements were taken 160 feet west of Vale Avenue, up towards the traffic circle, or the roundabout, and the site. I think you may find, Anthony, I don't know if you can pull it up or we look at it, but 160 feet, there is a problem entering that roundabout in the afternoon of bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's the same problem we have in measuring traffic when you go from Sunrise Highway onto County Road 39. The traffic counts are kind of technically correct, but that's because it's so backed up, they're bumper-to-bumper. So you're not really getting true free-flowing traffic counts. If there were new measurements to be done, I would say you gotta move it a little farther away from the roundabout. That's just a comment. And then I had some questions about the HC 57, but that's a little more, I think, technical and geeky, and I hadn't worked with those very much, so maybe one day I'll pick your brain on those, Matthew.
Anytime.
Okay.
So Matthew,
I would just characterize those as complementary to our comments. They are new in addition to ours, most of them, but just offhand, I agree with them being additional concerns. And I took notes, and we could revise our review memo to include those notes, because I think a lot of the concerns that you're raising are valid, and they're more than what we had raised. So thank you for reviewing that and giving those comments.
And I'd be glad to have a offline conversation with you and Anthony or whatever, and the applicant, if it would help.
Sure.
Thank you, Tom, that was great.
Really helpful.
We'd also like to have an online discussion about it.
Okay. We can have it on.
I'm Amanda LaRosa from Stonefield Engineering, the original preparer of the traffic report.
Okay.
I have had a chance to go through Mr. Carmody's memo. There are a few specific points that we want to discuss, the feasibility of actually completing. The bulk of the report is addressable, and I think a revised report with an executive summary can detail how most of the comments have been addressed. I'd like to start just discussing the safety study. This traffic circle, as you are probably well aware, was recently reconstructed. It was finished in the fall of 2018. The DOT is currently outputting complete traffic data through the end of 2022. So it's actually not that possible for us to get 3 years of data, discounting the years of 2020 and 2021. We can do a complete study of 2019 and a complete study of 2022, so we can give you 2 years, but the third year, just because this traffic circle was under construction and there's a little bit of an adjustment period when there's a new traffic pattern, we wouldn't want to consider anything from 2018. So I hope you'll find that an acceptable compromise.
I just interrupt here?
Absolutely.
I don't think we finished with our consultant before
sure.
you jumped in, so I think, George, did you have a question of Matthew?
Well, I didn't know if you were responding also to Tom's comment, so I'm okay with waiting. But I just had one simple comment, which you might both want to address. So You also, there was a comment somewhere in here about, you know,
Matthew's report.
yes, but it might have been based on the original report too. I missed the comment. So I know there's a lot of development happening or being proposed in downtown Riverhead itself, which sits, 1,000 feet away from this site. And I don't know if that increase in development in Riverhead was taking into account of the traffic flow around the traffic circle here, because obviously people come and go, and listen, I drive through that intersection very often, and I know how difficult it can be to enter that circle and go wherever you want. And there is a lot of good development, but intensive development being proposed for downtown Riverhead too.
Yeah, during our review of the traffic study, we had searched the town website and provided a link, and unfortunately didn't find the Riverside development plan that Tom had mentioned, but I think the solution is that a higher growth rate than 1% per year is used, because, it's another town. It may not be, we may not be able to get super accurate in a revised traffic study on what all the nearby developments are, but I think the solution would be a higher growth rate, since there's some experience in the past with using a higher growth rate of 2.25% was mentioned. So that's what I would recommend.
I just would note, I think that George was talking not only about the Riverside, which is going on in the Southampton town, but it also should be looked at what's going on in Riverhead town, because they all access the same point. And they're doing a lot of development in there as well.
Doing a lot of multi-family
Multifamily development.
and downtown revitalization, which is happening, which is bringing a lot more people to the town, to downtown Riverhead as well.
And L.K. McLean is the lead on the Riverhead traffic study, a townwide study that's occurring now. So I'm not sure if there's any early data that could be shared that could complement this analysis, but worth some outreach.
I had understood that to be George's comment, and I agree with it. So yeah, I think getting into the details of the bordering town development, maybe using L.K. McLean's data, would be more accurate than just assuming a higher growth rate.
Yeah, I mean, the other town is across the street.
Yeah, it's not
Well, across the river,
not a big mystery.
So, Matthew, this has been enormously helpful. I just want to nail down the process here. So you're going to look at Tom's comments, the board's comments, and incorporate them into your report. That's correct?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
do we get a revised report from Matthew? Okay, that's what I want to make sure. Okay.
And we're happy to account for all of the traffic associated with downtown Riverhead. As Matt suggested, we can do so in a background growth rate. If you guys do want us to look at data from L.K. McLean, I would ask that you, as the board, reach out to the other town to request that information, just working between consultants. Frankly, they are our competitors, so sometimes there's some hesitation to give data, but if you reach out directly to the town, I presume you'll have better luck.
Well, I think our planner would probably coordinate that.
Great, that would be very helpful. Thank you.
Anthony Trezza. So, Matthew, this has been very, very helpful. Any other questions from Matthew?
What is the process going forward? Just, once we have our revised report from you, Matthew, from AKRF, with all these comments in addition to the original, then the original consultant can revise their report.
Right, Anthony, you want to address that?
What are the next steps?
Once we have a report that Mr. Carmody revises per the board's comments, and obviously the applicants want to speak, but ultimately then this report is finalized, the board will accept it, and then typically the directive is to the applicant to go do everything that's stated in this report.
Right.
That's typically what we
Right.
would do, and
Now-
that's always my recommendation.
Now, I know the applicant wants to address certain things today, and that's certainly their right to do it, but are we a bit premature because we need a revised referral or
Well, I
not?
mean, if the applicant is gonna get up there and say, we don't wanna do any traffic counts beyond what we've already done or analyzed, what I would say is that we're not gonna get very far today, because the recommendation from your traffic consultant states 16 items right now that they're recommending that get addressed in the traffic report.
Right.
And so, I'm not a traffic expert, that's why we hired them.
Exactly.
So, what their recommendations are, they are. And we'll let the applicant, we'll give them their opportunity to tell us, as Mr. Brown wants to do, what they agree with or disagree with, or how they believe they could address these.
Okay, so that's the next step, because we want to be clear about process here.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
we don't get bungled up, so,
Right, so if I may.
Yes,
Keith-
please.
Keith Brown, the attorney for the applicant, Brown, Altman, DeLeo.
welcome.
538 Broad Hollow Road, Suite 301 West, Melville, New York 11747 for the record. So I just wanted to say, the plan here was not to say we're not going to do anything. The plan here was to have our traffic safety expert just respond to some of the things so that the board does have an understanding, because I think there's some things that are misconstrued relative to some of the basic parameters and assumptions that Stonefield Engineering made in preparing the original traffic safety report. So one thing I could just kind of discount off the top was at the end of the report that AKRF did, there's a couple of recommendations relative to the site plan itself. We're fully prepared to make those changes in the site plan, so we could dispense with all of them. There's like 4 or 5 of them. So there was a total, I totaled up about 11 other issues that were raised in the AKRF report, plus those that were raised by Mr. Neely. So if I could, I would like to very much have our traffic safety. So this way the board does have the other half of the argument, so you can just hear what it is that Stonefield did when they prepared the report, if we could.
Sure, yeah,
Great, thank you.
absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Just
So-
give us your name for the record one
Sure.
more time.
For the record, Amanda LaRosa of Stonefield Engineering, the original preparer of the traffic report that was the subject of this review letter. So I already briefly discussed the traffic safety concern. Do you want me to go back through that, or?
Yeah, please, so that, yeah, now we're finished
so
with that, we're listening to you.
The AKRF report requested a traffic safety analysis of 3 years of accident data, which is pretty typical throughout the industry. The issues that we're having here are very specific to the reconstruction of this traffic circle. The circle was completed in the end of 2018, so we'd like to look at data from 2019 and from 2022 to address the comment requesting that we discount data from the year 2020 and 2021 due to concerns about COVID. The DOT is only providing complete data through the end of 2022. There's just a little bit of a lag of how long it takes them to get the accidents filed from DMV and be able to get us complete data sets. So they might have a spattering of accidents in 2023, but they do not guarantee that it's every accident. So if the board and your consultant is agreeable, I'd like to discount 2023 as well. So that would leave us with an analysis of 2 years of accident data. And if you're revising the report, Matt, I would like that reflected in the report so that we can affirmatively address it in our resubmission. Then
Yeah, that sounds acceptable to me, and I'll make a note to revise that, and I agree. Yeah, 2 years is better than no years, which is what's in there now.
Sounds good, thank you. And then the other comments are really just on the appropriateness of the traffic scope. The applicant is happy to go out and get more traffic data, understanding it's been some time, and we also had the pandemic. Hearing comments from the board, I'm also happy to have the new counts conducted via video cameras rather than the tubes, which I think should address your concern about traffic slowing down as they approach the traffic circle. And we can still get full automatic data from that. We can get classification, everything that you'd get from the tubes, just they'll mount video cameras instead of putting the tubes in the road.
Amanda, if I may, could you just explain that? The one board member was the former traffic safety expert for the
Yes.
town, but the other board members may not be, so they may not
Oh,
understand what a tube is and what video is, so.
Absolutely. So the concern was that as traffic is moving slowly over the tube recorders, which you might have seen in the road, it's just a rubber tube. It sends a puff of air to a machine that automatically counts every car that runs over it. When there's slow-moving traffic, sometimes it doesn't get an accurate count, and that was the concern raised. But if we count with video, it's processed by a human, so they can actually count each car rather than having this machine defect.
But I think part of what I understood Tom saying is that when the traffic is moving so slowly, you have fewer cars actually going past the site, period. Not that
The per
tube
hour
can't-
count.
Is that what you meant?
Which is a problem. I mean,
Yes,
it
that's-
reflects that
so
there's
I-
congestion issues. But I do want to make it clear, Amanda, that when I referenced the measurements 160 feet from Vale Avenue, I believe that was the DOT counts. Just so you know, that's what I was talking about. I know you folks did some counts separately, I think manual counts of some kind or whatever, but the 160 feet from Vale was, I think, the DOT data.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yeah, I'm happy to share the count program and we can discuss the precise location. The count staff that we use to do this are extremely professional, so we can get pretty granular on where we set up the cameras to do that count, and I'm definitely
Well, I
happy
think
to
that would,
coordinate.
that would certainly be interesting to see.
Okay, sounds good. And then the remainder of the comments were just on the appropriateness of the scope that was requested. It was requested that we study the complete roundabout as well as the roundabout to the west and the intersection to the north going over the inlet. In scoping this traffic study, initially we consulted industry standard materials. There's a publication called Transportation Impact for Site Development published by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which is a national standard. And it suggests that a traffic impact study is conducted for a development that will generate 100 or more added new trips to an adjacent intersection. And the key word here is new trips. We have reviewed both sets of trip generations. I know Mr. Carmody pointed out that there's alternate independent variables that you can run these projections by. So the ITE compiles a giant set of traffic data where there's sample sites with various land uses, and they describe what type of use it is. And then there's sample sites, and they can, for gas stations specifically, give you data points based on the vehicle fueling positions, which is the gas pump, or based on the size of the convenience store. And they're projections, so the same store might have a different projection based on the number of fuel pumps and a different projection based on actual counts of the size of the store. So we did review both. We did select the slightly lower one just based on there being this is the third gas station on the circle. So we'd expect it to be probably on the lower side, but we are happy to revise our report and make the more conservative assumption. Even with the more conservative assumption, we are still talking about under 100 new trips. So the scope of our initial study looking at traffic volumes on the adjacent roadways did still feel right. So we just wanted to discuss the possibility of slimming down the number of locations that we're doing our counts at. And then in addition to the number of locations, we wanted to discuss the possibility of slimming down the seasonal counts. The ITE also publishes some data on seasonal variation. They note that seasonal variation is important to some land uses. As a prime example, U.S. shopping traditionally is busiest during Thanksgiving and Christmas time. And then they do publish seasonal variation percentages for land uses that are subject to seasonal variation. They do not publish that type of seasonal variation data for a gas station, indicating that it's not a use that sees significant differences in trips at different times a year. So we'd also request that we don't have to count two different seasons.
I would defer once again to Matthew. My
Right.
opinion is, and I'll convey this to the board and to Matthew, is that this with the question of seasonal, this is a unique situation out there. That it's not, but quite frankly, the seasonal nature of the town is not really an issue. It's almost a year-round morning bumper to bumper rush hour traffic. That's the reality. I mean, sure, we have seasonal summer increases, obviously, but the gist of our traffic problem is extended well beyond, at this point, just the summer season.
And it's unique to charts that are put out by New York State or any other organization.
So I'll defer to our
Right.
consultants.
So now what's our process, Anthony? How are we working for, we're going to get a revised plan from Matthew,
Yes,
and the applicant will get that.
the applicant will get that.
And I
We'll
believe-
review it and
Right.
we'll accept it, or, any final
Right.
changes or anything.
And Mr.
Then the
Carmen-
applicant will respond as they're doing now,
Right.
and
Right.
with additional, whatever information is requested from them to
Right.
provide. And they've indicated that they're willing to go
Yeah.
and do whatever traffic counts, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would defer to our consultant to him to tell us whether the responses from the applicant are appropriate. So,
Yeah,
sitting here now, I'm certainly not comfortable saying, well, what you just told me makes sense, because
So the
I'm out of my
two
comfort
issues
zone.
at hand, if I understood what you were saying correctly, is whether our consultant would recommend reducing the number of locations of counts
Yes.
and also the seasonality. Is that right?
Yeah, we're happy to do a new set of counts. I understand the age of the data, the condition of, the world going back to normal after the pandemic. We just don't feel that the entire scope of this entire Traffic circle, the one next to it, and the intersection to the north is appropriate, given that it's a use where, you know, people aren't really leaving their house to go get gas and go home. You're swinging in just because you're passing it.
Okay. What do you think about that,
And the prior
Matthew?
use, I would add, that was a gas station.
Yeah, we're not introducing a use that hasn't been on this traffic circle.
Excuse me.
Yeah, let me just respond to Amanda's responses. To the point of the development publication by the Institute of Transportation Engineers, we are familiar with that also, and it also states that when a development is on a corner of two streets, that you should analyze the intersection as a corner in addition to the driveway. So I think we agree that the roundabout itself needs to be analyzed. And depending on the revised trip generation projections and the reduction in the high pass-by credit that's taken, that could lead us to a path where maybe two intersections or one intersection are analyzed instead of, you know, we're just questioning would the three intersections that we're recommending need to be analyzed if it was done a way that didn't take all of the credits that it took. So we're not locked into those three, just putting it out there. And regarding the seasonal variation, that's also a question for the board and the applicant's consultant. Is we didn't research whether there is higher traffic at this traffic circle in the summer or whether October, when the original count would be kind of a seasonal average, which would be appropriate. So we're not locked into both. We just want to know more information whether the summer it spikes a lot and then might be an outlier, or whether the summer, like Anthony said, like the summer and fall, it's all the same. There's a lot of gridlock.
Understood.
So, yeah, so we're not locked in to the number of intersections or the summer and fall count. We just want to get more information from the applicant's consultant to kind of show the board what is the actual traffic that's going to be generated by this instead of all the credits that we're taking.
There certainly seems to be seasonal flow changes over there.
And I would think that October might actually be high because
No
of
question.
all
I'm
the
just saying that
North
the
Fork.
season.
The season has, the summer season has expanded to a shoulder season, because you have wine country, you have pumpkin picking, you've got,
Right.
we don't stop, and that, they all go through there
Yeah.
to get even onto the North Fork.
Right.
Everyone's
I
going
understand.
through there.
But the idea is that we're being asked to do counts twice, and we would just like to eliminate having to do one of the counts. So if the board's, discretion is that you would prefer to do the count come after Labor Day because school is back in session, I personally would disagree. I think that, you have a lot of people from the summer going away, but I defer to the board and your expertise because.
We live here.
And you do this every day, so I understand.
But if we did the
So-
one season, right, but take away some of the credits that Matthew's talking about, you can balance it, so it'll make the assumption for the fall season as well. We can include that in the seasonality of it. Am I getting this, Matthew, or not?
Yeah, that
So that you
then
only have to do
becomes
the
a more
one season.
reasonable traffic study.
Right.
Do they have, does the DOT have a permanent counter on 24? I know they have one on 27 by the Peconic Bridge. I don't know if these were just timed interval, out for
They
10
have
days
one
and
where
then
you
projected.
merge. They have one where you merge. They've had one.
A permanent, yeah.
While Amanda's looking that up, just so the board members understand, the prior counts were done during the summer, just so you know. Because-
The prior counts for October.
Oh, October. Oh,
My
sorry.
thought here is just to throw it out, and that they do have a permanent counter over by the Peconic Bridge coming into Southampton. I don't know if they have one on 24. But you could look at the monthly volumes and determine whether you really need to do two seasonal counts or not. Or is it just one big? I mean, when I used to actively do this, it was May and October were the most typical months.
Yeah, that's still the case.
But that's
Right.
sort of changed.
Yeah. That's our question for the applicant's traffic consultant, is like, what, is it more appropriate to use the summer or more appropriate to use like a May or October, which are kind of flat average months? Because as Amanda said earlier, the point of the traffic study is not to look at the peak of the peak. You don't do count the week before Christmas because
We'll get to evacuate.
I guess my time is up. Yeah, because you don't look at the peak of the peak because then you over-design the traffic infrastructure and the amount of parking that you need. So we're just questioning, is that the average? And I think any new counts would be sufficient because we all recognize that October 2020 was not normal.
So will we have
So
a
we
chance
will
to?
amend our, sorry, just to kind of close the loop on that, when we revise our review memo, we will acknowledge that either or, depending on what the consultant's proposal is, would be acceptable and not both. We would be happy if we had to do 2 traffic studies, one for the summer, one for the fall.
I think what we're saying, and maybe one day people will understand it, that summer into fall is one season on the east end of Long Island now. It's not, it's not 2 seasons, it's one season.
Yeah, I'm agreeing. I mean, KRF did the transportation chapter of the South Coast Comprehensive Plan, and their season is just like your season.
Yes.
It's expanded into the shoulder season, pumpkin picking,
Right.
and
Right.
you know, wineries, and like the summer it goes to October now.
Exactly.
Sometimes beginning of November.
And in
Exactly.
fact,
So-
April is one of the worst
Yeah.
months, actually.
So I think that it's important for all the traffic consultants to understand that the east end of Long Island, including Riverhead, is a unique area. And we don't really fall within the standard charts that people also use. They often use, well, this is New York State traffic count, whatever. We are unique, and I think this board acknowledges that.
And, I mean, I'm just gonna reiterate Tom's question about using roundabout data, because that seems, and it's a 2-lane roundabout, so that seems like very different from normal street crossings.
Yes.
And Matthew, you said you're gonna include that in your amended report?
Yeah, it already is mentioned that the highway capacity software that's used is not going to be able to analyze the roundabout. It needs to be upgraded to a synchro analysis or a BISIM, either of which can analyze roundabout performance.
I
But the
remember,
simple 2-way stop control highway capacity software is inadequate for that analysis.
I remember you mentioning those 2 systems, but I don't remember it because it gave us roundabout information. So if that's not in your report, if you could just add that, then that makes sense to me as a layperson.
I'll make sure that's clear, and yeah, that would be part of the data collection of the intersection for the traffic counts.
If I could just add on the crash data, just want to point out that I was involved when the new roundabout was put in, 2018, I guess it was. There were a fairly significant amount of crashes in that first year or 2. I think people were very unfamiliar with it.
Yes.
Hopefully they've gone down since then. I'm not, I don't see the data anymore, but it was just kind of, as you pointed out, 2018, you can't do it, and 2019 might even be a challenging year. You might have to really isolate, how much is really roundabout. There were, frankly, people were hitting the streetlight poles.
Okay.
So anyway, you may want to, watch that very carefully.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide a comparison of the 2019 and 2020 to each other, just so you guys can have an understanding of what it
Hopefully it's
looks like.
gotten better.
And just as far as the software is concerned, they possess that software?
Yeah,
so
that's no problem.
That's not a problem. But the one thing I'm just unclear about, if I could get back over my notes, we'll analyze the roundabout as certified AKRF. And as far as what remains to be seen in terms of the seasonal counts. But I just want to clarify, Mr. Carmody, if you could, with regard to the scope of any revised report, you want to see the numbers first before you determine the scope, is that correct?
No, I think that in the revised traffic impact study that Stonefield will be submitting, they can make the case for analyzing or not analyzing intersections away from the roundabout. We didn't have sufficient information to tell what other intersections may be affected because the traffic was only assigned to the driveways. Even the roundabout was excluded from the trip assignment map, so we don't know what is coming from different legs of the roundabout. So that's why I'm saying we're open to interpretation on other intersections, but it needs to follow the process, which is trip generation, trip assignment, and then you look at intersections that have the most trips from your project, and then justify studying or not studying that intersection.
Yeah, that can be included in our revised report. And I do have one other comment on your letter as you're going back and revising. Our traffic study in the text of the report included a table looking at the net trip generation, considering that it had been a gas station. But the sentence right below that explains that to provide a conservative analysis, that credit wasn't actually applied to what was analyzed in the HCS modeling. So if you would just remove that reference in your report, the remainder of the comments we'll address in a resubmission.
Will do, and sorry we missed that.
No problem.
Okay.
That's all for me.
Yeah, so
Okay.
Anthony.
We should be able
the
to
revision?
provide the revised memo next week to Anthony.
Okay.
Perfect.
It's just some words missing.
Great, thank you, Matthew.
If I could, Matthew, I'm just going through your report, and there's just a couple of things I just want to clarify.
Can you speak into the mic, otherwise you're
sorry.
not going to be.
Sure. I just want to clarify a couple things in your report, Mr. Carmody, if you could. The 10 by 40 spaces, and whether passenger vehicles will be allowed to park at these spaces, those are going to be for trucks?
Oversized vehicles.
Oversized vehicles.
Et cetera.
Right,
Trailing something.
right. So there's a lot of landscapers with trucks, so that's what that was designed for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
You can take that one out.
Okay. There's anything else? I just want to make sure. We talked about that one. Okay, I think that was it. And if I could, just so we're comprehensive, so we have as much information from the board as we can get, if I could just have quickly, Mr. Tartaglia has basically a red line of the changes that were made, so the new board members can see where we're at in terms of the site plan, and it'll just take a minute. If we
It'll
could.
take a minute, that's this board's discretion.
Okay, yeah, please, we don't have anything in front of us, so,
You're going to in 1 second.
Right here, everybody will be able to see.
can you see it at this
No.
end? It's pretty
I
hard.
can't even see it.
Yeah,
Can I sit at the
Yeah.
front table? then?
Yes, please, and just bring it up
Sure.
with you.
That would be great.
Yeah.
So just for the record, I'm appearing on behalf of the applicant today. My name is Chris Tartaglia. I'm from the firm of High Point Engineering, 1860 Walt Whitman Road, Suite 600, Melville, New York, 11747. So what we've prepared here is a site plan, which is actually the site plan that is before the board. So there's no changes that I'm going to go through here that you haven't seen already. But what we did, what Mr. Brown asked us to do, which I think was a pretty good idea, is just provide in red the changes that were made to the plan from the plan that was originally before the board, which several of the new members hadn't seen. And I'll just go over them quickly.
Chris, this plan has been submitted to the planning department.
Correct. So you have this
We
plan.
have them here. I
Yep.
think it's just not in red.
Just not sure you have color, so
Yeah,
that's
we
why.
don't, yes.
Okay, so there are just a few changes. We'll only take a moment. So what you see in red here in the triangular area here is, so what we did was we reduced the building from 3,024 square feet to 2,824, about 200 square foot reduction. And we reoriented the building somewhat. Now, while that doesn't look like a substantial change, what it did was it got us to comply with the town's pyramid law, which is a fairly significant requirement, and one that we understand the town does not like to vary from, so we were able to design out of that, or design into compliance with that. Also, what we did
What about the
was we.
setbacks?
What's that?
What about the setbacks?
So the setbacks, we better comply. Previously, we had a 10-foot building setback, whereas now we have an 18-foot building setback.
And what is the code?
The code requires 50. So I have another exhibit that I could show, but the buildable envelope on this plan is probably twice the size of this room in total.
Yeah, but that's still a variance. in other words.
Understood,
Yeah.
understood. So what we've done is we've gotten more compliant, but not totally compliant.
Right.
And again, we do comply now with the pyramid law. So to Ms. Burke's point, we don't meet setbacks entirely, but we have better complied with setbacks. Yeah, that's the one. So just to answer Ms. Burke's question, so the buildable envelope here, based on all of the setbacks, is this shaded area here, and that takes into account all of the setbacks, which are 50 feet, and that area is just about 9,000 square feet, and that's on a property area overall of 39,000 square feet. So we're losing roughly, we have roughly a quarter of the site is developable. So clearly it's a challenging site to comply with the code. Certainly it predates the lot size predates the ordinance, so it's typical.
Close the mic.
These are typical pre-existing non-conforming issues that we deal with. Another change that we made was just relocating the trash enclosure. That also off to the east side of the building was within the accessory structure pyramid law, so that we have made compliant. With the reduction in the building, we've actually reduced the requirement for parking by 2 total stalls. So where previously we required, it was 36 stalls in total, we now require 34. Madam Chair, we still need a variance, but we are providing 30, and we need 34. So we've reduced the necessity for as large a parking variance. And then finally, just more of an aesthetic issue, we've reduced the number of canopy signs. The ordinance prohibits canopy signs completely, from 3 to just 1 on the front face of the canopy facing the highway. So more of an aesthetic change, but just some evidence that the applicant has, is looking to work with the town and reduce the relief that's required. So that's it. Keith said it'd be fast. If there's any questions, I'm
Thank
happy
you.
to answer them.
Thanks, that's
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Mhm. Anthony?
So no action, and I will
Okay.
report back. I will.
And we'll
make
get a
sure-
revised
We'll get a
traffic.
revised, and make the applicant, we'll get
Great.
everything, and we'll get an application.
Great.
And we'll get that to
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all
for
very
coming.
much.
Yes,
Take care.
thanks.
Have a nice afternoon.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, Anthony, is that your last?
That was my last thing. Just real quick, 114 and 127 Halsey.
What number?
It's an add-on, just the signature of maps.
Oh,
Lot line
okay.
modification.
That's,
115 and 127 Halsey Lane, lot line modification.
Let me just,
115 and,
127 Halsey.
no, I have to add it.
and I don't know what's there, so I haven't
Okay.
signed anything.
Gotcha, okay.
115.
And 127
Are
Halsey.
they separate?
Nope, so the name of the application is 115 and 127 Halsey Lane.
Okay, so we're noting an addition, an add-on item, 115 and 127 Halsey for signature.
Yes.
Claire,
Okay.
we're back with you to, where are we, number
Grocery?
11?
The grocery, which is 6?
Pueblo grocery. I can't read my own handwriting.
Yeah, I think we'll go in order at this point.
Pueblo Grocery.
Just some.
Pueblo Grocery, 4 Concord Avenue.
And I have a resolution for your consideration. It's up there for you, you know, there's not. Is it okay if I sit up here?
Please, yes,
So we
come and sit, thank
Hi.
you. Hi.
How you doing? Good.
Yes, sir.
You want to identify yourself, but I'll do an overview for you, okay? So this is a site plan application that came to us. There's an existing building, 4 Pogpog Avenue on Pogpog. It's got 2 units in it. One of the units is about 570 square feet. I referred to it 6, but it's 570 square feet. It's an existing salon, and they want to put a grocery store in there. Just a quick convenience store where they have, you know, food and things like that, which is permitted use. It's a P.
Permitted use.
Yes, but when you do that computation, the parking requirement is different. Therefore, it has to come to planning. If they had enough parking, they probably could have done it administratively, but there's only 4 parking spaces on the property, and this use would require 6.
In the back there.
In the
yeah,
back,
there are 3
yes.
and 1.
So they do have some parking, which is great.
Mhm.
But there is a provision in the code for village business that allows the planning board to waive parking. In in Hampton Bays is one of them, Bridgehampton's another, even Riverside has their own. So in this case, there's been a couple over the years. They're asking for 2 spaces, and so I thought it would be eligible for expedited. I referred it to the fire marshal, who had no special concerns, and I recommend the planning board issue the waiver. It's based on the fact that there is public parking adjacent, and as you can see,
That's
there is
that,
the parking
okay.
there,
Mhm.
and there's parking on the road.
Now, that parking is going to be totally reconfigured, though. That's the.
This parking is, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Will it be increased when they revise it?
I don't know. I know Anthony has a better handle on that than I
Mhm.
do. But it will be improved in terms of circulation, and the connection to the other parking lot, which
Yeah,
is to the
that other
west,
store,
is an
yeah.
advantage also.
Yeah.
There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So I recommend that could be waived.
Yep.
I think it's a real challenge because that, I mean, I like the idea of not another salon in Hampton Bays. I live in Hampton Bays. But I think it's challenging because that parking lot in particular gets really clogged up. You've seen it, and then it's going to be reconfigured. So, I mean, I just want to express that.
Reconfigured for the better. That's.
Sure, yeah.
The town engineers they've already planned.
And they're
that.
okay with it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's part of your 6
Is this a
really.
takeout? It's not, I mean.
No, not a takeout, but it would a grocery store.
Can you
Yeah.
just identify yourself and talk a little bit more about the activity that you're proposing in the store?
Can we have just your name, please?
Joel Reyes. My name is Benny Torres. I helped him with some of the
Good.
stuff and I can
Okay.
translate.
Good, so you're Benny Torres and you're.
Joel Reyes.
Joyce Reyes, okay.
He's the owner, one of the owners.
Okay,
Mucho
so
gusto.
tell us a little bit about what the store is going to be
I
like.
do have a floor plan too. Does it help?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. Thank you.
Basically, they're going to be selling more stuff of Mexican goods, authentic Mexican goods. They're not making any food there. They're not doing any of that stuff.
So it's canned goods,
It's
boxed
canned
goods?
goods, boxed. You're gonna have some refrigerators and maybe one freezer. So they're gonna sell some like ice creams and things like that.
Mhm.
But everything's packaged. Everything's
Okay.
prepackaged. So
So
nothing
people
is
come and shop?
right in and out. And to your concern with what's happened in the past, that when they go to the salon, they're there for hours parked there. So that, I don't think that's gonna be the case with him. It's gonna be in and out, and the place is very small. And just remember, you're also taking part of the salon, because that was the full salon before. That's not gonna be there anymore, because he took the other half.
Mhm.
So, and he's got the smaller half too, so we're looking, I think it's about 570 square feet.
What about employee parking? I mean, we've only got 4 spaces back there, so.
I think that, well, he's probably, I mean, there's plenty of parking there because I think you could probably, I mean, I've seen 5 cars parked in the back.
Reconfigured? You
Yeah,
can reconfigure
yeah,
it?
I've seen plenty of times there's 5 cars parked back there.
Claire, is there a possibility to reconfigure it just on this so that we can say it's contained?
If I thought so, I would
Yeah.
have helped him, to get
Yeah,
another space
yeah.
in
I
there.
mean, even if you look
It's
at
very
Even there,
tight.
right, if you
That's
have-
so tight.
you have
There's
4,
4
but you
cars
have
right
one
there.
parked behind, yeah, but you have one car parked behind 3 blocking them, so it's not like,
Yeah.
it's not like unrestricted parking that you have, right?
Yeah.
Well, and just to be able to see this, I don't know if Anthony's there, could send it just to
Oh,
see
let me
the
see. I
overlaid,
can-
if you have that new parking
see.
configuration, just so we could see how it all works together and we're not kind of segmenting our
My-
viewpoint here.
itself in here, it's called Hampton 6, right?
Right. Because you're aware of the community grocery store
Yeah.
expansion?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all in the same space and all the traffic patterns are kind of changing, and that's why I'm looking a little bit closer.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's
Traffic
increasing,
is
yeah.
nice.
Can you zoom in a
Right,
little
so
bit?
you may then be able to use the parking there as the staff parking versus everyone kind of shoving their cars in.
Right,
Right?
right.
Does it say how
No,
much?
that
That's
would be
quite
fine
nice,
to
yeah.
use staff
So this
parking
is
there.
that parking lot
Or
Yeah.
the town
lines
owns,
or
that's going to be revised.
Okay.
With
Mhm.
a
And
cross
it's hooking-
access.
It's
I
hooking
don't think they actually
into,
got that many.
So the caveat would be his employees can
When-
park
when
in
they was-
that
I don't think
area.
it actually ended up being too many more
Well,
slots.
that would be
No,
good
but
for
they're-
business too.
they're-
Oh.
Well, obviously,
Yeah.
because that's an in and
It's
out,
a plus
so.
17.
Oh, right, so
Plus
that's,
17 spaces
that's what I
we
was
picked up?
asking about.
Yes, well, that's good to know.
That-
And then he
that
still got
includes on
access
the
to his
side.
parking lot in the back, so you
yeah,
know.
you see that,
Mhm.
that's good.
That's excellent.
Claire, I'm assuming the salon was a wet use,
Yes.
so this will actually, because it'll be a lesser of a wet use, because I see a coffee maker, but I don't see anything else.
Right.
So that's good for the environment.
Yeah, I think so too.
Is there gonna be any seating on site or just
No.
people
No.
purchase and
No,
go?
no,
mini-
just
mini
park
market.
In and out.
Yeah.
In and out.
One and out.
Cool.
It's
there
a really
entrance
small
in the
store. It's not like he said that salon, they had to wait to do the fingers, whatever.
Yeah.
This is just shopping and go.
Right, and they can even walk there from the
Yeah,
main
they
street.
can walk
Can
on the
walk,
street,
right.
yes, sure.
Five,
Might be like
70 feet?
In,
What are you looking
in
for?
expedited site plan review, I'm a little newer on the board, so just wanna ask a
Yes.
question.
What's this?
In the expedited review, will we be able to see a rendering and the signage and everything?
No, that would be,
That's the
We
ADA
wouldn't be-
compliance too, right?
it's
Okay.
not typical, no.
That would be, you would see that.
Yeah, administratively, the planning department sees it, and
Okay.
they have guidelines that they can't exceed, so.
Yeah, along there, right across the street, you saw Francesca's has done a really nice job of improving the facade of the building, and then they actually connected a brick walkway out to Montauk Highway, and we would love to, I would love, I'll speak for myself, would love to see.
Well, we're gonna improve.
You know, improving the
Well,
facade and things like that, like,
We're
as
gonna
you
improve
can.
that whole back area, because I have now, on the right side, I just bought the property on Montauk Highway, which is literally directly
Behind?
behind. So I'm actually gonna be fixing that up as well.
Can you show where it is on here?
So, that should be
Over there.
to the left, right there.
Where I have the cursor?
Yeah,
The middle,
with the cursor.
not the corner, but the
Yeah,
next
I
one.
own the 3 West Montauk Highway.
Oh, interesting.
So there's, Tony's.
Tony's
Express.
Agency, I'm next door.
Oh, okay,
I'm where
right there.
Munotech, and I own the insurance office.
Okay, and then that's the top of a building, right?
Right, that's
It's
the
not
top
like
of the
parking
building.
area, okay.
Correct. So
got
I'm
it.
actually, I'm gonna end up improving.
Okay, great.
all that.
That answers and satisfies my questions. Thanks for entertaining it. I didn't mean to
Okay.
make you nervous,
And
but
then I
just the
spoke to Mark,
parking is
who
a
owns
real
the-
issue, so
who
if we're
owns the
plus,
property that he's on, he's
Yeah.
gonna fix that up.
if we're plus
We're gonna work together
17,
to clean that all up.
Good.
in that back parking area,
I
that's
have one question
good.
for you. It looks like there's a back entrance. You have main entrance on Ponquag, then it looks like a door in the back.
Yeah, that's where they put the
Is-
garbage in.
oh, Is that, like, can customers come in and out of there?
I don't think he's gonna use that, just the front door.
Okay, so they come in and out on Ponquag and
Right.
come around to the parking lot?
Correct.
To-
But now they're having this nice little
Right,
walkway.
there's a
That's
little.
terrific. When are they gonna do
walkway
that,
there.
Claire, do we know?
When is this? This is, it's part of your Hampton 6 review.
No,
Mhm.
I know, but, so it'll
Actually,
be
Yeah.
soon.
They could
They're not
start.
gonna be able to get a CO until this is probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so can I, thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
luck with
Thank
this.
you.
Can I
Yeah,
have a
thank you.
motion for the expedited review of Pueblo Grocery?
I'll motion.
Motion by Kate, second by George, all in favor.
Thank you.
Opposed, abstention, 6
Thank
in
you very
favor,
much.
1 absent.
Thank
Thank you, good luck.
When will we
Thanks for
find
coming
out?
Hmm?
When will he find out?
can ask
Get in
Claire.
touch with me, I'll be here tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
Thanks, no problem. So my next one is is simple, but I wanted to bring it to you.
Concord Manor?
Ponquag Manor. It's a enclosure for a new dumpster on the site. This is that condo, that's been going on for 16 years. Uh,
We've had several. Which one, Claire? Do you have a
in
visual?
Hampton Bays. So I'll show you the site. "24 condo units.
Do we have any more?
It was Allen's Acres. Way back when. All the condos are in now. They're coming down to the end and they realize they
I
have
remember
no
this, yeah.
dumpster. So
We
just
have
because
no-
it's like adjacent to the neighbor, it is 10 feet away, which is great. It's gonna be nicely fenced in. But I just wanted to present it to you as an amendment to the site plan.
There's no other place for it.
Not really, not that I saw. If you do it on the other side, you'd be very close, and they don't have the setback there.
Can
We
you
don't
show
want
the-
them near wetlands.
How
Can you
is a
show the
truck going
aerial?
to, how is a refuse truck going to come in there and take?
They're
it?
gonna be able to turn around and back in.
They can?
Yes, exactly.
The neighbor is what, person, the house?
Let's take a look at the aerial.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They're a little bit, probably non-conforming themselves. Just. So they're a little messy.
So can you zoom out and just orient to where we are?
On the way to the bridge,
Okay, Foster.
Foster Avenue, then there's some marinas here.
Mhm.
Tully's is here, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks.
Yep.
Oh, yes, so, okay, yeah.
So this is a site, I think that's got houses on it, but he's using it quite extensively himself.
And that area, it doesn't look like there's a house right there.
No, there's no house. The house is more adjacent there, so.
Wow.
so.
Used car lot.
Yeah, it's big, and it wasn't, I don't think when we initially saw this plan, it was like that, but it's.
That's not like the beach bar over there?
A
Is
beach bar would be.
Further north?
Beach
of
bar's
that?
over.
There.
Is this the beach bar? Is that called the beach bar? It's called something different every time.
Something.
I think it's here. I think this is the beach bar.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, maybe that's used in conjunction with that. Look at that, same entrance.
Mm.
Could be. So I thought that this would be appropriate, but I just wanted to double check with you if
What's
it's
it, what are the
acceptable.
orange things?
Here?
Yeah,
This is a roof deck.
okay.
Yes.
So this
Nice
will,
view right into here. so-
this will be screened and,
Yes.
planted.
Yes, planted and screened.
okay,
Okay.
okay, any other
Is that a new
questions?
location or is that where it always was, Claire?
There was
None.
no.
They forgot to
we-
build-
We didn't even have one.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that's been built for a long time, but it was,
They've only
it was
started.
painful.
Yeah. They only started getting COs in the last year or so.
Yeah, but there was
And,
all
'cause
kinds of-
they're coming down to the end.
Yeah,
and
all
they
all
realized
kinds of
they needed-
financial stuff that I've read in the paper.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Poor owners.
Okay.
Okay, so motion
Motion?
by Gloria, second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
My next one would be Blessing Fields. And I'm going to get you.
Number 11.
Thank you.
There might be a missing one there. So.
All right, put this in there.
Yeah, just
Just pile.
pile of junk. Site plan, some building plans if you want them.
Just give us an overview, please.
I'm gonna take up the site plan, yeah.
And here's another set if you want it.
Claire, is that a map for the,
That's not it?
This is another map from someplace, High Point Engineering.
This is 711.
Okay. Do we have anything up on the, oh, you have it there, okay.
I think you've seen this a couple times. This was a pre-submission, also a zoning board of appeals report. This is an existing building. It's directly across the street from the entrance to the shopping center in Hampton Bays.
Oh, it's that
Close
long
to the
thin strip,
intersection.
yeah.
Close to the intersection.
Yeah.
It's got a small office, which was a house probably at one point. They want to demolish the building and construct two buildings on the property. The front property building would be an office, approximately 4,000 square feet, and the second building is more of like a special trade contractor, uses about, I can't remember the square footage on that, maybe 6,000 square feet. Yeah, 6,000 square feet.
We've seen renderings of this, have we
We
not?
saw
Yes, you
that,
have.
yes,
Yep.
yes.
So we're asking for a pyramid law, because it's highway business, and the width of the property is very narrow. So there was a back and forth with the ZBA, and they reduced it to some extent, to reduce their
You did.
ask for the zoning board of appeals. But
So
they-
we're looking at a revised
Yeah, they,
plan.
We're not looking at a revised, so we had already, we went through the
CBA.
zoning board, we got the variance, we did the public hearing for this, for the special exception use, and now we're at the work session to discuss the conditions of approval.
Thank you for the recap.
You're welcome.
So yes, and you had done seeker previously for the zoning board of appeals. That was back in August of last year. There was a public comment, a public hearing on June 22nd, 10-day written comment period, no comments on either meeting. I did attach the ZBA. There is a copy floating around there, the decision. There's some comments from the fire marshal, May 24th. Pretty typical comments, key boxes, dumpsters, enclosures. They may need a fire hydrant, fire service mains, but they'll have to address those conditions. The ARB, June 6th, approved the project. Town engineer had a couple comments. It does not recommend engineering approval at this time. And you did get us revised plans? I can't remember.
We have not gotten you revised, Michael Shiano for InterScience on behalf of the applicant, and Sabrina Kelly with InterScience on behalf of the applicant also. And we have not gotten revised plans submitted yet. We're working on addressing everything, and so we're working on it. So just a quick question.
Sure.
If Tom doesn't recommend approval,
Yeah.
that's not, we can't make it a condition that we will just comply with them?
No.
We have to get to a point where he recommends approval?
Correct.
Okay, I just
Yeah.
wanna make sure that,
I would ask, I'm gonna ask you right now, we're gonna need an extension,
Mhm.
at least, because even if you got me the plans tomorrow, he's taking about a month to
Right.
review.
right.
So,
So we'll
we
submit
could do
you a
that
letter.
today.
Yep.
If we could do an action today,
Oh,
we'll
yeah,
just
sure.
extend it to the 24th, even though we might just talk about it at the next meeting.
Mhm.
That'll just give us some breathing room with his issues. Planning Commission, local determination, Health Department received an application, and CAC hasn't responded, nor did DPW or the Fire District. This is a special exception. The application does meet all the requirements. Do you want me to go through these? There's A through M. They are proposing cross-access, which is great. Do you want me to pull up the site plan? I can show that to you, or do you see that on the site plan?
It's on the site plan.
And where did we land with the traffic signal? I remember it was right across or something.
There's a traffic signal that we have with that's shared with the.
The Panera and Macy's
Yes.
parking
Mhm.
lot. It's
The
already
Panera.
active.
It's already active,
Activated.
yeah.
Okay.
I believe
right.
that.
I've never
it-
been in there. I've just come from the other way.
Right. It's active until a certain point during the day, and then it just turns into a flashing red light coming from this way.
see.
But it's active in every other direction for
Okay.
the duration.
Great.
Do I have the site, actual site plan? It's not scanned in.
I think we would have sent you.
I have an old one. Oh, maybe this is what this is. Nope.
elevations, staff report. Yeah, I guess I don't have the site plan.
Site plan 915?
Yeah, but that's old, right? That's not it, is it?
What's the revision date on this one? It's 915, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, I guess it's slightly. Yeah, I guess that's it. And then, so you see that they have, there's cross-access proposed along the road, which is consistent with the plans to dates from Hampton Bays. So we have a plan that shows the cross-access, but we'll have that attached to the next version.
Okay.
So you have it.
Yeah, you have a cross-access, but there's also a 13-foot wide road expansion. Is that to make the cross-access wider than the 20 feet proposed? or what's the-
That is, I believe in connect, so in the pre-submission report, we were asked to include that in the site plan because of the Good Ground Road extension, which was part of the 1999 comprehensive plan. So I know that's the reason why. I was not specifically connected with the project at the time that the pre-submission stuff was discussed. But that is the purpose of that road extension. So I think it's like getting it ready in the event that the road extension goes through, but right now it's just that we would just have the cross-access easement for the time being.
Okay.
They'd probably combine both the cross-access and
Yeah.
the road
Sure.
expansion to make it.
It should be
Right.
just one, probably, right? So 33 feet?
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just looked, I just picked it up because it had two separate things side by side.
Yeah, I
Right.
know, right, exactly. Okay.
I guess whatever, if it's consistent with the adjacent properties, however it's notated for that purpose. is
Do you remember how
really
wide
what you want to
the-
see, right?
It was the same.
I think Wayne wants to say
Okay.
something.
It was the same thing that they did on the property to the east, which is the liquid propane.
Right.
Right, yeah.
I think Wayne wants
So
to say
just
something.
keep the same consistent notation, probably.
That was the same point I was gonna make, is
Right.
that after the discussion we had with the board at the hearing, the question was raised. So we pulled the site plan for Quag Sinclair, and you have that cross-access across that. And that's the only cross-access because of the type of use and the secure issue. And that was one of the one gentleman that showed up at the hearing was concerned about us using his property because gas storage, didn't want access there. Similarly, on Riverhead Building Supply to the west, I don't think they gave this board anything.
They did not.
And they gave no cross-access because the whole rear parking area is all, it's not parking, it's secured outdoor storage.
I don't know when that was approved, it was some time ago.
Right, but they
Way
gave the
just
planning
before
board
my
no
time.
access, no
Yeah, but it was
access,
pre-
no cross-access there at all.
It was before our plans for cross-access, Wayne, it was a long time ago.
Correct.
Yeah.
The board
Can
had
you,
just
Wayne,
asked.
give us just your name for the record, please?
Sure, Wayne Bruin, O'Shea Marcinsick and Bruin for the applicant.
Thank you.
Along
nice
with
to meet you.
Sabrina and Michael.
So, Claire, what are we doing here?
So I'm just going through the standards. I want you to be comfortable with it because if the only issue coming up is the town engineer, then, I'd bring approval for the next meeting, so.
Okay, so this is just a discussion and an approval for next week, next session?
The
August 10th.
next available meeting, we're gonna do an extension, to the 24th, just in case the town engineer is gonna take some time.
You think that's enough?
A month,
Yeah?
if they give us the plans in sufficient time.
You think?
We're going to try. So
Or do you want a September date? Why put it and then change it? So, it's up to you.
Right, I would like to request the August, the next available meeting in August, and I will make sure to let you guys know with plenty of time that we haven't. So if we haven't gotten it in by August, before the next meeting in
10
August, the
days
first,
prior.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. yeah.
14.
So we're looking at an extension to August 24th. Let's just vote on that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I just wanted, for the record, it's a one-day extension, because your deadline from June 22nd is August 23rd, which is the day before, so we're actually giving you a one-day extension to that, but the hope is that we can do that, and if we need more time to get the review, we'll give you a further extension.
Right,
That'd be
okay.
fine.
So motion for the August 24th extension?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Gloria, second by Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent. Okay, so you want to go over the special exception?
Yeah, I didn't have anything significant. Going on to page 7J, I have a couple question marks. They're meeting the rear buffer, but the front buffer.
Just real quick,
Sure.
on page 6.
Yep.
There was some reference that you made about, under D, you say the proposed business will use an existing building? And we're-
Because I cut and paste.
Okay.
What's wrong with that?
You don't admit that, Claire.
I will change it accordingly. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
I also, if we could go back to A, it's in harmony with the general purposes of the chapter. Now that they've gotten the ZBA, now that you've come into compliance with the pyramid law, you're more in harmony. So I think we should reference it here.
Oh, that they got a variance from the zoning board of
Yeah,
appeals? Okay.
for the pyramid, for the height.
Okay. That's not a problem.
Mhm.
That would be appropriate. So D will be changed,
So Claire, I understand on I, the parking calculations, that you've had further review and discussions.
yeah, so in your revision, you're gonna have a reduction for the parking, okay, requirement.
And that actually allows us more flexibility. Just for the board's edification, the parking calculations done by the engineer counted the basement area as if it was retail space, which
Oh.
it's not going to be. So we had more
Mhm.
parking than we
Than you
actually
needed?
needed, which actually goes back to something you did raise about turning radius inside. So with less parking, we can provide the better turning radius, and that's part of what's taking so long, not just the town engineer's little comments, but these revisions are being
Right.
done as well.
So Claire, I think we need to mention that. You'll mention that in that.
When she
Yes,
gets the
so
revised plans.
when I get the revised plans, but I have a note here, and then I'll mention something about the turning radius too.
Right.
Cause there's a plan that shows that, right?
Mhm.
The turning radius, okay.
Yes. Yeah, currently the survey does show the hammerhead turning radius.
Good.
But we have to revise it because we can't have, one of the comments that Tom had, the town engineer, was that we couldn't have parking spaces in the
In that
hammerhead.
turning,
Right.
right.
So thankfully, with the revised calculations,
Yep.
we take those out and we have plenty of parking.
Great, good.
Good, that works.
Buffers,
Oh, so yeah, back to the buffers, just some boxwoods in the front to screen parking if it's not already incorporated.
Okay.
Those are my question marks under J. K, of course, you're getting health department approval, no outdoor display. And there's no outdoor storage at this time? No? Yes.
If they were to, we don't show it on this plan, but it's been kind of an open question that I've been going back and forth with my clients about. If they did have outdoor storage, we would just have to show it, or what?
Show it.
Okay.
Show it and provide parking 1 to 1,000.
1 to 1,000, okay.
It's worth it, because
Right.
these things that happen after the fact.
Right.
Yeah.
If, I'm just a general question about cross-access areas. Can they use the cross-access area for outdoor storage, and then when it's activated, they don't have it anymore? Or, I'm not sure how that works, so I just thought I would ask the question.
No.
How did you ask?
I don't know. That's
We
my
can talk,
mom
Tom.
answer.
Let's talk about it.
We can talk about it more, okay, fine.
okay.
Literally question.
It's scary.
So a lot of the site plan standards, I'm going back onto the site plan standards, are addressed under special exception. I don't see anything else. Do you want to talk about the do you want signage to be
Signage.
reviewed?
Yeah,
okay.
absolutely.
That's appropriate.
You planning on a sign?
We're planning on a sign. Where we left it with the architectural review board was that the specific detail, there was a sign plan in the set of plans that was submitted. They wanted us to make sure that we comply with the way that the lighting is on, that we comply with the code on the lighting. What it shows on the plans, do we have that? Yeah, please.
Because this board has to sign off on the sign. We refer it to the ARB, but it's this board.
Oh, yeah, we do have a big one. So this shows that it's just LED lights coming through. And according to the code in the Hampton, in the Highway Business District, you can have internal illumination, but it needs to be more opaque than this. So you would have more of like a halo effect around it. So this is going to be revised per the.
So this is a monument sign.
It is a monument
that says
sign.
Blessings Fields, and then you have 2 tenants.
Currently, right. And then there's space in the event that other people wanted, because there's more office space that other people could come in to use. So that right now, this is what would start.
Okay, you're gonna have to show us materials, colors of the materials, not just a conceptual plan.
Okay. We do have wood boards. Wood boards with a half-inch space in between. LED lights. We have the lighting amount. Stucco finish on the bottom support.
What color?
It does not say, so we'll have to get colors
Yeah,
for you.
yeah, you have to do the whole package for us.
So what is it, like routed out the letters and then they put the LED rope light in it? Is
Or-
that how, I can't really see it that well, so.
Claire,
Just
LED
wondering.
lights? I'm just trying to,
But as long as the color temperature is correct.
okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry, as long as the color temperature is?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're not that bright.
So is that how
Is
that how it's manufactured, that there's?
Yeah.
I'll get more details and make sure
Okay.
that that's
30,000
indicated on the
It's
plan.
important, because is that sign in the appropriate setback?
It is.
20 feet?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was the rationale, behind choosing a sign like that as opposed to your standard, painted sign and, that seems to be a little bit out of character with the area?
It's what they provided us with, so I'm not entirely certain specifically about why it was that they chose this. I know that it's, other than that's the look that they wanted, that our clients wanted. And the architecture review board reviewed it, and they, other than making sure that the lighting components complied, they didn't have any issues with it, just to let you know.
What's the size of it?
Could you hold that up?
Sure.
Because I don't think all of us
I
can
guess
see
that's
it.
what I was
Yep.
responding to too. It just seems out of character
It-
with
it
the other
is 4 feet
signage along
tall
that area.
and 8 feet wide. Uh, 7, yeah. Oh, yeah, the base is 8 feet wide.
Is it perpendicular to the road? So it'd be on both sides, or is
It
it
is
parallel with the road? Because it's one
Hmm.
flat piece.
It is parallel with the road.
Okay, so you'll provide us with all that
I will.
information.
Yep. Yes.
You really like that, huh?
Well, the building is relatively contemporary, as I
Yes,
remember.
but I don't think that fits with contemporary building at all. My personal aesthetic opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I guess a comment from the board to bring back to your client would be that it doesn't seem to fit with the nature of the area. And so if there are alternatives that they would find suitable, I know it's within compliance according to the code, but we'd like them to consider other options. that suit
Everything
the
else along there
neighborhood.
is more like a painted signboard. There's nothing, there's no lit
Yeah.
electric
Right.
you know,
Mhm.
signboards in that area,
Mhm.
including McDonald's and you know,
It
Macy's.
seems like you'd see that along Route 58 in Riverhead or something.
Yeah, it's
And it's
right.
not quite that way in that hamlet.
is painted.
It's on Hampton Bays Beach Community.
More traditional.
Mhm.
Painted sign. Okay.
Well, a more traditional sign, certainly, than something like that.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, any other questions, Claire? Any other issues?
No, those are the ones to touch on. And, you know, if they can go through the town engineer, then we could be prepared for a decision and conditions.
Okay.
So no action, we're
So no
able to do
action now, this
extension.
was just discussion.
Oh, you
We
accepted
did the extension
You
already.
already did the
You did
extension.
that.
Yeah.
You did that.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is all yours.
I don't know,
Oh,
these, Claire gave us these.
Okay. Yeah, give me the.
Thank you.
You're done, Claire?
No, we do
No.
the bridge.
Oh, no, you're not.
13.
Well,
Unless you want
we-
to-
We did the extension on 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, let's take,
You wanna take someone else?
Yeah.
Don't hear from me anymore?
Jeff? Is
That's
Jeff
okay, I'll
here?
come back. I'll come back.
Just let's take 8, Pines East Lot, 81 easement amendment.
So Mike, before you is actually number 9.
Excuse me?
If we take number 9, then we can leave.
Okay, so number 9, so you can leave.
Thank you very
Aren't
much.
you
I
lucky? Can we
appreciate
go
it.
too?
I won't say anything.
Okay, let's get some information from Jeff.
Yeah.
Pull it up for you.
Is it next to the park?
Yes, it is,
Public
yeah.
hearing. Jeff,
Yes.
are you missing the public comments on here?
It's only one public comment.
Hmm?
It's only one public comment.
What about all the letters that we've gotten?
No, it's only one letter. I've only received one letter.
Which one is this?
You got a lot
Yeah, it's
via
been just
email,
next to
right?
it.
On this one?
I remember a bunch of them in the emails, no?
We just got one.
Yeah, I think you might be referring to another
Yeah, I
project.
don't think this is.
Not this project.
This is the mini mart, the ice cream place, the.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, this is,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry.
All right, so today we're here to discuss the pre-application, or excuse me, the pre-submission report for 656-64 Montauk Highway. Their proposed site plan application is for the merger of 2 adjoining lots to construct a 3,000 square foot, 2-story mixed-use building. The existing automotive mechanic repair shop is on the west side of the property. Put this on for you. Come on. Okay, it doesn't want to come up. Let's do this instead. So the first part of this application is to merge these 2 lots. These 2 lots open the opportunity for the construction of the mixed-use commercial building and the number of uses that they're proposing. The applicant, I believe, is the owner of both lots. As you can see, they're using the 2 lots for overflow parking for the pre-existing garage there. The site plan that's proposed will eliminate the overflow parking for that garage and extend it to the rear of the property. Which I'll pull it for you.
So all of the garage parking will be contained on that lot?
Will be contained on this lot, correct. The mixed-use structure will contain the following. First floor will contain the mini market, an ice cream shop, which will also include some storage space, the kitchen, 2 bathroom stalls, as well as the second floor entryway for the second floor. Second floor is comprised of a total of 2 offices, which are 508 square feet in total. It also includes 2 market rate apartments as well as 2 moderate income apartments. This is permissible by 330-158E, which technically limits them to 2 apartments, but at the discretion of the applicant and the board, at least the request of the applicant, the board can permit 2 additional apartments as long as they are moderate income apartments.
Is that affordable?
Essentially, yes.
And who keeps track of the fact that it's affordable?
So we do have the housing department, so at the full application stage or full site plan application stage, this will be referred to our housing department, who will then review the application itself, provide comments, and essentially would be keeping track of the 2 affordable housing.
It gets filed as a covenant too, and it makes them required to comply with whatever our housing office says.
And that lasts in forever?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
For
couldn't-
perpetuity.
Yeah,
In perpetuity.
I decided I was done.
Forever, yes.
So the office and the apartments will all be on the same floor?
Correct.
That seems.
And there's what, just one hallway?
Currently, yeah. And this is a
Seems like
pre-submission
there's
stage, by the way,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, that's a strange configuration.
Yeah.
Looks like they're essentially trying to maximize what's there.
Clearly.
They come upstairs and you go down to the, yeah.
They would be limited in size because of the single lot, but merging the 2 lots gives them, one, the uses again, and the size itself, and the size permits that. So in terms of number of uses, and you'll notice, and the applicant did a really good job in giving us some charts that kind of distinguish what's permissible per code with the allotted area in conjunction with the proposed uses, as well as providing us with the parking calculation, et cetera. So if you check, you'll be able to notice in the packet or the staff report that breakdown in charts, which is spelled out fairly clearly, so you can kind of wrap your head around the uses and what's allowable there.
And
Now,
they're tiny, I mean, 450 square feet and 600 square feet.
yeah, so
Those are tight, those are closets.
So there are the 2-bedroom. There's a 2-bedroom apartment, which is the market rate apartments. Those are 2 bedrooms, and the moderate income are, I believe, 1 bedroom.
Really, where's the
Each.
second bedroom?
I don't see it.
There's no second bedroom.
Apartment 1 and 2 are.
1 bedroom.
are
One bedroom.
And so those are the moderate or the market rate, because we were told it's different.
Those are market rate at 450 square feet are the little ones.
No,
They're not
it's
2 bedrooms.
it's just 1
They're all
bedroom, yeah.
They're all 1 bedroom.
They're all 1 bedroom. Interesting. But they're allotted up to 2 bedrooms, regardless per code. If they were to increase the floor, the actual gross floor area of the bedrooms.
So those are 12-foot wide apartments, if I'm reading that upper, apartment 1, apartment 2?
Yeah, they actually do meet the
So
size requirement.
They're 12 by
per code.
40 roughly, and the bedroom is 8 feet wide.
So the bedroom sizes.
Lord, you can't even get a bed in that.
So
Reminds me of my days in the city.
Yeah.
So correct, the 2 moderate are 450 square feet.
Excuse me?
So the 2 moderate income apartments each are 450 square feet.
450, yeah.
And then the market rate apartments are 600 square feet.
Right, so
each.
where do you get 2 bedrooms out of that? It's not.
Yeah, they're all 1
Unless I
bedroom.
read
They're
it
all
wrong,
1
there's
bedroom.
a 2-bedroom on the market rate.
Market
Yeah.
rates are 600 square feet, 1
So,
bedroom.
but if you look at the plan, they're all 1 bedroom.
They're all
Oh,
1
no, you're
bedroom.
correct, you're correct. Maybe I just made a typo there. That's what it looks like. Nevertheless, they're allowed to actually build, have a gross floor area of 6,000 square feet because of the addition of the bedrooms, specifically the moderate rate bedrooms. As well, they're allowed to put them on the second floor because they're in the HC zoning district, the Hamlet commercial zoning district. So it permits all of the above. I think at one point there was a concern about expansion of a non-conforming use, which was determined by determination by the chief building inspector. This is not considered such, so no additional variances would be needed for them to proceed with this proposal. Now, we did actually post for public hearing twice, the May 11th meeting as well as the June 8th meeting. It looks like there was a discrepancy on the posting for the May 11th meeting, so we reposted it. The only comment that I've received via email was a comment dated July 10th, 2023 by Michael Matera, a local business owner. Essentially, it simply stated, I would like to officially state my concern as a small business owner in East Quogue. I believe he's the owner of, I believe it's a meat shop down the street. His father, I believe, just passed away. But there is no additional comment as to
Didn't
what the
detail
concern.
what his concern was.
No, that was it, simply that.
What about sanitary flow?
So sanitary flow, they're going to have to go to the health department for sanitary flow. As it currently is situated, the merging the two lots gives them approximately 80,000 square feet in lot area. Actually, 74,000. 74,000. Mark down. 74,000 square feet, essentially, which meets the requirement for that. But they still have to bring health department approval at the full site plan application stage. So for pre-submission, they don't necessarily need it.
I guess I'm just
but
raising that, whether or not that might
For
be
the flow.
a challenge.
Sure.
The
That's an
reason
awful
for
lot of
merging the
wets.
lots was in order to provide sufficient flow for the new building, mainly the apartments.
Well, you've got a lot of, everything in that building is wet.
Right,
There's still- there's-
right. But the apartments are the uses that have the
most.
large, right.
Yeah.
And so we'll have to have an IA system and the whole.
Well, yeah, that's.
Right.
That's county code now, so.
Exactly, right.
So are we looking at a type 1 action here? How many parking spaces are there?
So they have, in total, inclusive of both the mixed-use building and as well as the existing garage, the applicants propose 88 total parking spaces.
How many?
88.
So that's a type 1.
So I'll change that to type 1. I had it listed as unlisted because of the.
The new use doesn't require that many, and we're making the existing mechanic shop conforming by actually adding the spaces that they need.
Right. I'm just looking at the review by the code. I mean, it does meet a type 1 categorization.
Is the type 1 categorization
Parking.
that the new use that you're adding has 50 spaces, or that the total site in general is 50?
Total site, which we're considering is a total site. We're not segmenting this.
I'm not saying that it would be segmenting, it's just that the increase in use of the property.
I'm saying it's just on parking.
They just look at it as the site as a whole,
As
right
a
now.
whole.
Thank you.
Can you explain that to me also, because I'm newer? What is the trigger threshold? So, a
Parking,
whole
Kate.
site.
Parking.
I understand how
Yeah.
many.
50.
50. Okay, thanks.
So.
I didn't know if it was
So
80
is a
or
type
81
1.
or
So it's listed as a type 1 action.
Right.
Short form EAF, generally on the type 1.
No,
This is the
No.
Long form.
Long form.
So I'll change that as well. Where are we?
So in the environmental review, it's gonna catch that AI system and all the
Right.
Yeah.
flow.
It would be
That-
nice to see also, that rear yard of the current mechanic shop is vegetated now. So if they could incorporate some of the existing trees or anything like that, just to soften that lot being paved completely over, I think that's a nice consideration as well.
So in the preliminary review section number 2, pursuant to Town Code 330, Section 330B and 2, all buildings and structures within the HE zoning should have some type of residential nature in terms of style, design, and scale. The applicant did provide us with some renderings here, which are essentially residentially styled. Not sure if the planning board had any comments or any changes they'd like to make to the style of the structure.
The bottom left view is what you would see from Montauk Highway.
Claire, are we getting ahead of ourselves here in terms of classification and type 1 and?
No, this is perfect.
All right.
This is when you're supposed to say this.
Mm-hmm. So your report will probably change.
Yeah, I've already making some changes here.
That's a little overhang coming off.
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
the
right
entrance to the ice cream
Yes.
store, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, are there seats in these shops?
There are only outdoor seats. There's no seating inside.
And what about in wintertime? Does the shop continue to function?
It's a very good question. I've not asked those questions to our client, but we'll discuss the full kind of use of how they would function outside of that, and if they would move any of the seats inside or.
Is it a window operation, or do people go in?
People would go in.
And the staircase to the apartments and the office space, I know you said there was a staircase, but where?
On the back side, right? Front?
In the back of the
The
building.
back, you can see it on the top corner.
So the offices are over the ice cream shop?
No, the offices are over the entrance through the back so it's like the staff entrance and the entrance to the apartments. Can you go to the first floor? So there's a storage side, and then there's an entrance to the second floor.
So
Storage right here. Entrance here.
the ice cream shop is separate from the staircase that goes upstairs.
Correct.
Is it at all possible to put the office space downstairs and increase the size of the apartments?
No, we are at the maximum size of this building in the HC district.
No, he's just suggesting reconfiguring
Yeah.
the space.
Eliminate the ice cream shop.
And by downstairs,
No,
by
move it.
downstairs, I'm sorry, by downstairs, you mean the first floor?
The
Yeah.
first floor,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
Can we see the first floor?
Sure.
Oh,
That's
that's it.
So you
is
have
the
your mini
first.
market here, which faces the park, is that correct?
Yeah.
So how large is the mini market, square footage wise?
1,705 square feet.
The first floor retail area, which kind of includes the ice cream shop and the mini market, is about 2,800 square
Yeah.
feet.
I mean, this is Manhattan building. Commercial, it's gonna be open late, and little teeny tiny apartments upstairs. I know having affordable housing is a good goal, but I think my personal opinion is they're just jamming way too much stuff in one
Yeah.
place.
We
That-
can't make,
My candid comment, whether or not.
right, we cannot make the apartments any larger than they are, otherwise we go over sanitary flow.
So
Well, you could
I wanna-
eliminate some of the apartments, you know?
Mhm.
You don't have to have 4.
I just
But
wanna
of course,
offer-
because you want affordable in there, you're looking for more square footage, that's the reason you're doing it. But they are really not habitable, these tiny little 450 square feet.
The
You've approved that before, these quad.
I certainly don't remember a 450 square foot.
Can I offer
apartment.
a
Studios. not
another
Right.
perspective
Yeah.
also?
Yes.
Out of my grade.
Offer away.
Yeah.
If you have a small bedroom and a living room and a kitchen, it's an apartment, yeah, and
Yeah.
people know what to go into and look to rent it. It's
I
The
mean,
market will
it's-
tell them,
Right.
or tell
I'm
them.
not,
Yeah, I mean,
I
it's,
don't think it's our job to
a
really
studio,
say.
studio setup would be, at least give you a little more space.
But, yeah, but
It's the same
that's,
space, it's just that
that's not-
you know,
I don't
studio.
think the interior
layout as our,
Kate?
Yeah,
purview.
I mean, a lot of the South Fork and the entire East End workforce was living at the college in a dorm room, including myself, for many years. And I think, I mean, you said it kind of casually, well, that's the size of my apartment. Young professionals who are working here, whether seasonally or year-round, often don't need as much space as a family unit, because most of the time you're working or socializing or, you know, patronizing the other businesses. So I agree, you know, depending on the individual living there, the size is different and what's needed. And, you know, kind of looking at the community housing plan and consulting with the housing department, it could be that in East Quogue, this is appropriate. I'm not saying it is or it is not, but I think that we need to consider that, because there was an entire workforce living in probably 300 square foot spaces and perfectly happy for many years.
Living in somebody's
Right.
basement. I mean,
Sure. Yeah.
It just seems like if my initial reaction is there's just way too much stuff. There's a lot of
You know,
stuff.
if you back this up, okay? They're getting additional square footage because they're doing that. Now, is it, what's wagging the dog? The tail or
Right,
the?
I'm not saying I
So-
agree or I don't agree, I'm
so
just saying
they-
we should consider everything.
If- But
Yeah.
6,000 square feet reconfigured a different way is certainly an option. And so,
I think you should put that as a comment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what we do to get the real information is maybe it will do a referral to the
Housing department, yeah.
See if that meets their criteria of, like, we want a variety of housing coming through. It's not only houses,
Yeah. Good
the
idea.
apartments
Right.
of a certain size. So I think that's,
A certain
so all these comments
yeah.
are great and
Yeah.
they should be in the report.
Yeah, a certain size, but also within a commercial building.
Right.
because there are going to be all kinds of fire codes and regulations that we'll need for that. And a long form EAF, so.
Yes, definitely.
That's required once you make it a type 1.
Right.
Yes, and it is type 1, yeah.
And you know, in talking about housing above commercial buildings, that's kind of the cornerstone of what villages, you know, want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put
Right.
housing above apartments above.
Right.
Yeah, but
commercial
even
space,
if
so-
it was without the office, I mean, it's,
Right.
you've got commercial on the same floor.
Oh, I mean, they're putting a lot in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's no question about it.
I'm just, you know, my gut reaction, maybe at the end of the day, it's a way to create
Yeah.
housing that we desperately need.
I'm having the same gut reaction too. I would prefer to see the office, you know,
The office
downstairs, if at all
downstairs, yeah.
possible.
Yeah, that's a lot of traffic up there.
Just in terms of the summary of the use, if you could just include that we also are proposing that there's a full unfinished basement that can't be turned into something, but I just want to make sure that
Sure, I'll
it's,
add it in.
yeah, thank you.
I mean, you could,
But maybe your storage could go in your basement and you know, so there's options. you can
Right.
look
It
at.
would technically be stored, but it's unfinished in the fact that it wouldn't count towards parking and it doesn't count towards health department flow. So that's why I was saying about that. So.
I mean, someone could rent the apartment, get hired by the office person, and then go downstairs and get ice cream. They would never have to leave.
But it's employee housing, essentially.
Could be.
I think that was part of the idea behind some of them, trying to make some type of a mixed use, and that was the concept that they kind of came forward with, so.
And so do you have all the questions that we've
Yes,
asked?
yes. Some additional questions, and I think a concern at the initial review of this was the parking flow. They're proposing the loading area for the structure itself, I would assume here, which questions whether or not they have enough adequate turning radius here to then flow into the parking lot that's associated with the mechanic shop. So I had mentioned that in the report, that we'd like some type of traffic analysis and for them to provide us with turn radiuses and some type of turning radius analysis as well for large vehicles. So I'm not sure if there's anything else you'd like to add there. If you
So
believe
the
that's sufficient.
existing shop has bays that the vehicles pull into with.
There's bays in the
back, I
front and in
assume,
the
right?
back.
Oh.
Jeff, can you zoom in on the back where the seating area is there?
Sure.
So that's in outdoor seating, and what's loading area?
The loading area would be for the mini market.
Is that right where
The
your
neighborhood
stair
market.
entrances as well? On that
The
corner?
stair entrance is.
On the corner of the outdoor seating area?
Where the outdoor seating is, that's the stair entrance, and then where the loading area is the door to the storage area for the mini market area.
I think that is a good, if that's the loading area, I think it's a good point. It's pretty tight to back a truck
Mhm.
in
Very
and out
tight.
of there.
Can you also please make note that our code requires every 20 parking spaces has to have a green planting?
Right, so they did propose,
I'm
some
talking about the
plantings
other
here.
lot. the
Right,
other
right,
lot.
so the mean applicant actually, myself and Mike actually spoke about that, and they were gonna clean this area up a bit more, to include some more, vegetative, stalls for, to break up the parking. So I assume at the site plan application stage, they'll include that in their site plan as
Right,
well.
so it's
But I'll
required
make
by
sure-
code, and you can make reference
Sure,
to the
absolutely.
code.
Yeah,
And-
InterScience is working on a conceptual plan to kind of help address some of the things that Jeff and I had spoken about, some of the things that the board had mentioned during the public hearing. So we're going to be working with our client in order to make this a little better.
Mhm. That would be good.
And the disability parking is all on the
Correct.
mini market side over there. I don't know if there's a requirement or just maybe something to consider to put one or two of those spaces maybe over on the repair shop side.
Well, I think the code, state code will require that you can't just put all it has to be split in proximity to your main entrances. So you have two buildings, there really should be at least one for somebody who might be going to a repair shop.
And they're
that
going
may need
across
to-
gravel if they're going to a repair shop, right? Isn't that light gray area, I think you said was gonna be the gravel area and the dark was gonna be the paved, or do I have that backwards?
That's
I
right on
forget.
that plan.
That is right on this plan, yes. Yeah, and we're right. All of the ADA spaces will have the proper pavement details. One thing, I guess that we'll look into the ADA requirements for it, but
For the shop.
I guess with the mechanic, if you're going to be pulling directly into the front of the building, leaving your car there, you're not necessarily, I'm not sure how it works with working with the mechanic and parking with the ADA
Right.
spaces, so. But,
And Jeff?
Yes.
You should be adding Anthony's green statement.
Oh, yes, I'll add that.
The AT statement,
what's that?
basically asking for you to look at environmental ways, whether it's electric charging stations or
Solar.
solar. He has a very nice long sentence that sort of suggests all the different kinds of things you could look at when you're building a new building.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's becoming a standard language that we're trying to get on everything. It includes it, my pet peeve, which is irrigation, that's kind of more green.
So from a,
We don't waste water on,
Yeah.
trying to native
Water the
plantings
parking
and-
lot?
Yeah.
Right.
So from a landscaping standpoint, they've proposed a 50-foot wide transitional yard, which meets the requirement for code. So we were asking for a more detailed landscaping plan. Planning board's recommending some possible, if it's possible, of course, street trees around the proposed area. I know right now it's all improved with concrete and asphalt. But some screening here would be nice. As you move further down Montauk Highway, there's some additional street trees. Obviously, as you approach the the village green. There's some additional greenery there as well. But the transitional yard does take care of any concern when it comes to screening of the residential properties to the rear, which you could probably see here. There is some existing vegetation there as well. And they're also proposing a 6-foot-high stockade fence to provide separation between the transitional yard and the parking area. Bless you. Just wanted to see if there's any additional comments or concerns. I also asked for some type of screening for the outdoor seating area, as it's completely exposed to the parking lot.
What about on the side of the building where the apartments and the offices are? I don't think there was any greenery shown. Is there any space?
Let me see. So to the side of the building, are you talking along the property line or?
No, on the side of the building.
No, there is nothing proposed as far as the side of the building, no.
And
This, keep in mind, this is gonna essentially be one large lot with the mixed uses in it. So this line that divides the two will no longer exist once they merge a lot. They do use this area for the mechanic to pull any cars to the rear, or for if you're a patron and you want to access the rear. That is also the area to use. Right now, it's proposed at 14 feet separation, and between the dumpster about 16 feet.
So those are right behind the apartments. That's not really a
I'm
very
just
good
gonna-
scenario.
The apartments face the.
The dumpster
They
and
face the mechanic shop.
mechanic
Yeah.
shop. So
The
you-
bedrooms and the
You'll look
backside
at
of
all
it.
of this, right? Right. I just want to say that we have only about an hour left. We have a lot of stuff on the agenda to go through. So I think you've heard our comments.
Yeah, I appreciate the comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's no
Okay.
action on this.
Okay, I'll make the changes and we'll come back. Number 8. Oh, very quickly.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
So you were Pine East, Lot 4?
Yes. Pine East, this is the easement amendment we spoke about, discussed at the last hearing, our meeting. The applicant is requesting modification of an existing slope seam easement.
Oh, right, yes, the oddly shaped.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The property location, the subject property is at 34 Corbett Drive. So I just prepared a resolution which touches on all the comments we had at our last.
Did anybody get 2 of these?
Yes, I did. You have an extra one?
There you go.
Welcome.
And if you
Go
have any-
ahead, please.
Yes.
So what does financial impact mean at the bottom of the?
That's just something that comes up from the program. You can eliminate that. I don't know why that keeps popping up.
Only on yours.
Really? I don't know why.
So has council reviewed the?
Yes, actually, council and myself discussed this morning, yes.
All okay? Great. Any other discussions on this? We spent a lot of time on
Yeah.
this. Yeah. So I have a motion to approve the easement amendment.
Motion?
Motion by Gloria, second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And I have one last one, which is a site disturbance. The applicant is here, or the representative for the applicant is here. This is number
20?
20.
Number 20, Bridgewood.
20, Bridgewood. Pull it up for your review. All right, this is located at 25 Tansy Lane in Bridgehampton. It's part of the Bridgewood subdivision, which limits the lots in that subdivision to 11,000 square foot allowable clearing, specifically 11,000 square feet, whereas it is part of APOD, but it's not necessarily eligible for any increases in allowable clearing. The applicant right now is over cleared by 20%. The property size is 24,679 square feet, where the 11,000 itself is equal to 44.5% allowable clearing. They did provide us with a re-veg plan, which does bring them back to compliance. Of course, this is not, let me see here. This is one that was hand-drawn, but does list exactly all the requirements in terms of vegetation. They are proposing some red oaks as well as some white pines, some shad bushes for low bush for the ground cover, as well as some low bush blueberries. So the plan as it is does meet the requirement and should bring the property back to compliance.
In compliance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, at the end of this, would you get an actual survey to verify the?
Absolutely, that's part of the approval, yes.
Any questions? Okay, motion to approve the re-veg plan by George, second by
Second.
Kate, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? You are done. Jeff, Claire, you're back.
I'm back. So number 13, Bridge Petroleum.
Let's leave space, time for just for the quick referral.
Yes, yeah, I think we could go
That should go
quickly.
quickly.
This is that's the resolution, and,
Bridge Petroleum.
yeah,
Okay.
and then this is the part 2 that I just want to briefly go
Site
over with you.
plan. Site plan.
Jackie, this is the one we were getting ready.
Yes.
Resolution. And
I had that in my head too.
Yeah, this is the one that went to the ZBA and they sat on it for a while.
so this was discussed last meeting and I wasn't here, right? I looked at some of that.
Excuse me?
Yeah,
So in essence, the ZBA has a revised application where the original proposal was to demolish the existing building and build a new convenience store and new pumps. The applicant has modified their application to reuse the existing building that was a service station on the property. And the ZBA coordinated with the planning board, and this is the latest plan. So this is the existing building, the pumps remain the same. With this application is a canopy proposed also. So, planning board said at the last meeting that they wanted to be lead agency, the ZBA relinquished lead agency, this would be to assume lead agency, and now you have 20 days to make a secret determination on this application, if you find you have sufficient information. So my first action would be to assume lead agency in this matter.
So
To
the
do what, Sarah?
Assume lead agency.
Oh, okay.
And then that sets a 20-day clock?
That starts the 20-day clock, yeah.
So is that enough time?
Yes, well, we're gonna start to review it today, the part 2. I want you to kind of go through the part 2 where I've gone through it. We'll go through each point, each 18 points, and see how you feel about whether some of these issues are issues of concern, you need more information, or such. So, to rise to the level of a pos deck or a neg deck, or a neg deck with conditions.
So,
Which is what happened at the previous application.
So the previous application that we had done a conditional neg deck on.
Mm-hmm.
What is the status of that now? Is that?
So technically, that with the ZBA, it's the same application, though modified.
I thought it was a new application.
But it's a new, see, that's what's going to gum this up,
Yes.
and that's a good question on George's part, because we already issued a conditional neg deck, and that was that. That now is no longer, and I really believe that we should start a new application for this. It's totally different.
Well, you don't have an application at all. Planning board has no
Well, then-
application.
then
The
what do-
zoning board of appeals. And they thought the project was so different that they asked for a new AAF and a new secret determination.
What do we do with our hanging out conditional neg deck?
in terms of,
So do you see
It's
this-
out there.
The ZBA repeal that
Yeah.
first application?
no.
Oh,
They've recognized that this is substantially different, but they're considering it part of the same application with the zoning board of appeals.
I just think that's unfortunate, but I'd refer it to council to see how we should best proceed.
Yeah, I'm a little confused.
Yeah.
So just say it again.
So the ZBA had an application for the demolition.
What we all heard, right.
We all heard ZBA coordinated with the planning board assumed lead agency, planning board issued a condition neg deck on that proposal. Proposal's been modified so significantly that the ZBA said, I want a new EAF, we're gonna redo SECR.
So they've essentially closed out the old application by doing this. So we should do that as well and then start from scratch.
Yes, and that we
Yeah.
have a
And that's
new
what it is,
EAF.
it's a new-
So.
There's a new EAF,
so, but
a
we
new plan.
Should we make a motion to some extent to say that,
I think we need to discuss this in a closed session.
the previous
Or advice of
application?
council at some point if you're not
Okay.
ready to,
Yeah.
if it's not clear.
I just think it's going to get
there's
very
an action
messy.
deadline today.
Yeah.
In the case of SECR, and I think in essentially, you are treating it like a new application. There was a new EAF, there's a new plan,
So this is a new proposal.
right.
It's not a continuation or an amendment.
So
We're going back to the
considering-
beginning to consider whether or not a neg deck, condition neg deck, or pos deck will be
Appropriate,
appropriate.
For this new application.
this new proposal.
So in essence, we're reviewing secret completely.
From the get-go,
Again,
yeah.
Can we ask that the ZBA procedurally just like issue a resolution saying that this is a new application, or is that, you know, does it?
We're the lead agency, so like they can say whatever they want, but
Mhm.
we're the lead agency. So I
Okay.
mean, again, I think we should, if we're gonna have a further discussion about this, I'd like to be able to advise you in a closed session. I don't know what to say.
We do that now.
So should we do nothing today?
Or at an
I don't know
action-
what do we do?
technically, when they give you the referral, it starts a clock of 30 days of determining
So
who
there-
the lead agency is.
Have they declared themselves anything?
They have not yet.
Not this board.
When's
the
our
zoning board
deadline
of
to
appeals.
determine lead
Relinquished
agency?
lead agency at the last meeting.
They relinquished it.
Yeah.
So then it's up to us to pick it up.
Mhm.
But we already have it, you're saying?
Well, you haven't assumed lead agency yet.
When's our
The planning
deadline
board
to
has.
do that?
That's what Claire wants us to do today, but that starts a clock for us that is.
It's already started.
Right.
By their clock,
The
their
lead
clock.
agency designation has already started. It's
No.
30 days.
When is the 30 days up?
It's already up.
Oh, okay.
But they, SECR also says, obviously you don't meet every day. So, but it's, it starts to, if you don't act, it's something that they could sue you on.
No,
So
but
what-
it's not appropriate here, because the ZBA can't start a clock if they are relinquishing it to us.
We
Then
have-
we start the clock, not the ZBA.
The clock has started with SECR purposes when they coordinated with you.
But
They
we
didn't coordinate.
We haven't accepted the coordination.
They coordinated with you when you said that you wanted lead agency at the last
Yeah,
action
you
you
said
did.
that.
Wait, we already said that we wanted lead agency, you're saying?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, but
You
they took,
received the coordination, that's when the clock started, you received a coordination, that's, clock started,
was there a time when we were, both entities were saying they wanted lead agency status?
no.
But this-
ZBA, when they submit your letter to you, say they don't want it, usually.
I'm
So
a
they-
little bit
Coordinate.
confused
So
about
But
they
they
never,
can't- they
they
can't say
never
we
had
don't.
lead agency.
You're not lead agency yet.
No,
the
they
clock
never
can't-
had lead agency on the old application.
They had an application, they're the only ones with an application, so they acted on it, it's an unlisted action, they coordinated with you, the board.
The new application.
The new application that they asked for a new EAF for, yes.
And now
We
they're giving
haven't
us
even-
notice
we
that they
haven't
no
even looked
longer,
at it, you know.
they're giving us.
Yes, you
no-
did. You looked at it with a report to the zoning board of appeals, in which you said it requires a SECR, and that you would want lead agency in that report.
When
And
did
then
we-
they
when did we do
coordinate
that?
it in April.
No, in this new one, Claire,
Yes,
April?
April.
I can't
Let me
imagine
just, let me just
I
pull
think
up the
that's
report.
far back, but I remember I seem to
Maybe.
remember saying we wanted to
Maybe.
assume lead agency.
Yes, that happens probably on June 22nd.
No.
But before that, there was a referral in April. Hold on a second. I'm going to pull it up.
It's in here.
But until we pass a
What other
resolution,
agencies were
it's not-
coordinated with?
April
count.
13th.
We didn't pass a
What other
resolution.
agencies were
That's right, we
coordinated
didn't.
with?
Typically Health Department.
Because we would have to give notice to everybody then that we were gonna assume lead agency status. And then they have time to actually say, no, we don't want that, but I doubt they would.
This is your report. Planning board finds a new pre-submission conference process should commence with this proposal as the project has been modified substantially and has merits of a new application. So this is something you pointed out before.
What date is this?
This is April 13th. Seeker coordination, the action was classified as unlisted. The planning board issued a condition neg deck on previous application. The planning board suggests the withdrawal of the application and new seeker review be
Withdrawal of the
completed.
application,
Right.
right.
The planning
This
board
is what we're
requesting
talking
lead
about.
agency.
And you requested lead agency though in April.
All right, but we want the other one withdrawn. We want to close out of that.
Well, you can't
You're kind
control
of,
the
you're,
zoning
you're.
board of appeals process.
You're kind of doing that because you are declaring this is a new application.
Right.
And you are doing a new secret
Secret.
review
Right.
of the now
Of
proposal,
the new
whatever they call
proposal,
it.
right.
It really kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah.
In effect, you are doing that.
Right.
Well,
Well, I'm just concerned about this time clock of 20 days. Is there,
I can
No,
prepare any
well,
documents you
No,
want.
but 20
within the
days,
20 days.
20 days to do what? To just say that we,
we want to
Has-
pause deck it or not pause deck it?
Yeah, and I mean, that's why I want to go through the 18 standards now and you say, you know, I have concerns about this and this. I will write your concerns down and put them in a part 3 that'll be
Right, but we
substantiated
have-
for your
we-
secret
but
determination.
We haven't really even
If I
reviewed
had a
this.
chance to read this before today, it would have been helpful.
I
Wait,
think
you
we'll-
don't, I'm not saying decision today. I'm saying
But if
you, let's say
It goes
impacts on lands.
You're telling me that we have 20 days from right now.
I have 20 days to present your information.
Wait a minute, but we,
You have 20 minutes to tell me what you're concerned about, traffic. And this is not in a bubble either. You've reviewed this site before.
I think only because this has become an issue in other applications of note where they have weighed in and then later, you know, like we talked about this, like we're gonna really pull up our sleeves and do it on this one. Like you do it a lot of times on the, I don't wanna say this is on the fly, it's not on the fly, but for lack of a better word.
Mhm.
And we said that we were gonna start instituting, and we did it with, was it Lewis Road? I don't remember. We did it with one of them. We set aside a separate hour or 2 hours to go through and really delve into it then and there before you did that. If you want to do that with this one as well, I think whenever you're making a determination to be a lead agent and you have a secret application that clearly is going to be of, you know,
Importance.
they're all important, but, you know,
Okay.
more controversial or
Mhm.
more, you know,
More
problematic,
compli-
potentially
complicated.
adverse, yeah, more complicated or potential more adverse impacts or whatever it is that require your more undivided attention, you should have a separate time that you say, we're gonna do this. Now, you do have, Claire's 20 days, right? So you're gonna meet within that period of time again. You might wanna set up, instead of coming in at 2 o'clock, you might wanna come in at 1 o'clock and have a time where you discuss this and give it its own
Right.
look
But-
at.
So, but Claire wants to do this now.
Well,
No,
she's
I
not,
don't.
she's not saying that. She
I'm not
has
saying
to,
that. I've checked some checks off.
yeah, she's
Impact
just,
on land, are you guys concerned about impact on land? I will look into your impacts on land. Just
And
spit
if
something
within
out.
the 2 weeks, the 20 days, we say, we have concerns about this aspect, we have concerns about that, that is the action, enough action necessary to meet the 20-day,
Right.
and that we need more information, we need
And
more
we'll give it
review.
an hour and a half at the next meeting.
All right, but you've
Yeah.
already done something with small to moderate. I mean,
Yes.
the only way this is going to, if we do a pause deck, They can't be small to moderate
This
impacts.
is my opinion.
Yeah.
And I
We-
give
These
you,
are for
I give
conversation.
you
Yeah.
my
Conversation.
opinion, and if you have a
Different?
different opinion, that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Today, we would assume lead agency is what you're asking for, and then within the next 20 days, we have a special work
Which is-
session to
is
review
basically
this
14,
document
yeah.
and modify it. And then at the 20-day mark or prior, whatever, then that is when we have to make our secret determination, correct? Am I just want to make sure I
I
understand.
believe time was that 20 days is before our August 24th. Well, obviously, yeah.
You have an
We would
August
only have
8th
one.
meeting?
It's gonna be your August
It'll
10th.
be August 8th meeting.
Yeah.
It will happen at your August 10th meeting.
Hmm.
And again, it's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be saying, I think there's an impact on traffic. I need a traffic study.
Okay,
Period.
you
I mean,
have-
it doesn't have to be, everything, it's just,
And you're
you
looking
know,
at it
picture.
now at, 10 after 5 when you have a
right.
hearing upon you. And I think you get that, but Claire doesn't know where this is gonna fall in the mix of things as this comes up today, so she looks at it as your staff and gives you what she knows you're gonna pick out right away that are obvious
you.
things that are
Thank you.
concerned, bless you.
We also do
So-
not have a full board on the 8th. We have several
it's the
people
10th.
out
Yes. Oh, who's out?
on the next.
Oh, you're out, right?
And I'm
And,
out.
and Glorian is out, and I don't know who else might be out.
Well, we need a quorum,
Yeah.
present, physically present.
Right.
Yeah.
But
So we won't have a discussion with the full board. That's,
You can have a
That's my
special, you
concern.
can
Is
have a
there,
special, meeting or work session maybe the next week if you want. I mean, you can,
Is there room, that's what I was asking about the secret regulations, to be before the deadline would be August 10th, but could we do it on whatever the next
24th?
meeting is?
I wouldn't go
24th.
after, I would do it before.
This
That's
is a-
really nobody's.
This is a hard and fast deadline.
Okay,
This
yeah,
is not
asked and
like
answered then.
coordination, because you can't make your meetings. This determination is hard and fast.
Could we do a meeting?
oh, but all these secret regs are not that hard and
This
fast,
one is.
Claire. I mean, we took a whole course.
My recommendation is
We
this
took a
one
whole
is.
course that says these, are if you have circumstances, that is not hard and fast. So, I don't want the board to be put in a corner because of these time constraints.
That, I
Yeah,
would
but-
suggest that you talk to council
On,
on it.
on this issue, I do agree with you, I don't think they're black and white all the time.
Right.
But on this issue, because it's more a result of, the fact that we can't or wouldn't comply is more of a result of how we are choosing to process this information. It's really not, it's something that's out of our control, we can control it. You can meet before, you can meet next week, you can, I mean, there are things that you can
Well,
do.
that's what I was gonna
And
say,
it's
you-
understandable that you'd wanna make it a special
We
thing,
want to
that's
pay
fine.
attention to it.
Yeah, absolutely,
read it.
but we do kind of have an obligation to perform within our time frames. If the building were closed for a week because of an emergency, whatever, okay, then it's not your fault, we get that. But if it's just a scheduling thing, that's not a reason to not do something.
Okay, it's the first time we're seeing it now, so.
In this context, yes.
In this context,
So-
at 10 after 5.
I know, so you can either, I would suggest, you can do what you'd like, but I would suggest either set up a special meeting next week and do it on Thursday or whatever day the room is available again, and meet again the following week to finish up, or meet earlier on the 10th and be ready to act later that day.
If they're gonna be away on the 10th and there's an important issue, is there like a vote by proxy that could be recorded
No,
or no?
no,
Okay.
I need a quorum in the building
Got it.
and.
Or on Zoom.
Yeah, and I need physically present people. You could, if, you could still, one person could Zoom in.
Right.
Right. So we will be making our secret determination on the 10th, then?
If we assume.
If you
we
don't,
did-
if you
If
choose
we
not to
assume-
meet before then, yes.
Oh, like we
We
could
will
hold a
have a
special
quorum
meeting.
physically here.
Okay, well, that's an option, that's a tool in the toolbox. Are you guys able to do that? Because
Just has
this
to
is
be
a really
advertised.
controversial issue, it's important that we have
I'm not here.
as many people.
Okay.
As of Saturday, I'm not here, so, I mean,
Okay.
I'm happy to Zoom in, but that might
We'll
not
have a
count.
physical quorum here.
I just need a physical
Right.
quorum here,
Mhm.
and then whoever is on,
But a
Zoom after
discussion,
that, it
but
doesn't
a
matter.
discussion can happen via Zoom prior to that, or not?
When you say prior Zoom,
Like if-
at a public, the public has to be able to view that discussion.
Well, can you Zoom on the 10th?
Yes, but I can't vote, right?
I think that I think you can vote, as long as everyone can see it, and as long as I have a quorum
In the
physically that are here voting.
Mhm.
We have discussion by Zoom. We've done that before.
Is it 4+1? What was the thing? Remember we had this discussion? I'm forgetting.
Four.
It's
We
4
had-
have to be here, physically,
4 have to be here and 4 have to be
voting, here.
voting one way.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Even
here.
for
And I need you
discussion
here.
purposes?
I need 4 people, I need the 4 people here to vote one way. That's what I need.
To vote one way.
It's like logic games.
What if there's a split?
3 to 2,
Then it doesn't, it
that
fails.
doesn't carry.
Doesn't carry.
I know. So what happens then?
Doesn't carry. Then you're, I don't know.
I mean, what happens if it's
I mean,
secret?
procedurally, it becomes like, are they gonna bring in an Article 78 writ of mandamus to compel you to, there's no de facto neg deck now, because you can weigh in, so they would bring an action to compel you to act. I mean, you know.
So we just pause decade.
No, what I'm saying is, if you had, even if you had a full quorum and we,
It matters less if you're all here, the majority carries, but when you're not all here, I would need everyone who is here, and I need a minimum of 4 to all vote the same way, because you have to, I think you have to be present.
Okay.
It's some weird thing with, and I'll
Claire,
double,
can you-
I'll double check that.
So my question is, what's the implications for determination if there is no majority? Even if you had a full quorum of 7 people and 3 and 1 abstain, what's the implication of secret determination then?
We've got a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's kind of what I want.
Officially,
My
yeah.
professional, you see, we've got a problem.
I just, yeah, because I know like with the other things that, if you can't reach a decision.
It's de
after
facto.
62 days, a de facto
Yeah.
approval. I just wonder if this was a de
We
facto
can't-
type 2 or type.
Is there a situation where we could wait to determine ourselves as lead agency due to what you were saying, Christine, that we do have to notify and receive, decline from each of the other agencies
I
involved?
don't think so, because
or
we're treating this like a new application. So
Right.
once we do that, Claire's gonna coordinate again,
Okay,
or
it's-
not?
It's been coordinated, and
How is
But-
it being
but-
coordinated?
ZBA has an action. They have an application. They coordinated with us, planning board.
The new application.
The new EAF and the new plan has been coordinated with the planning board and the health department.
They did that?
The ZBA did, yes. And that's when you acted and said that the planning board would like lead agency. ZBA subsequently, relinquished lead agency. 30 days had passed. They hadn't heard from the health department. 30 days had passed, and they said,
So now we just have
You
to
can be
issue,
lead
we are lead agent, you just have to, because we already
So
said we
there-
wanted it,
that's-
nobody contested it, so now
From
we
what I
have to.
understand, like, there's 2 sections here, right? Like, there's no option, we need to assume lead agency
Yes.
today, from what I understand. Then, going forward, we have a scheduling issue, which, I mean, I would make myself available outside of regular hours, because this is really important that we have everyone organized. So, if we do the action to do that, can we then coordinate the schedules so that you could participate on Zoom and vote and that we have enough people here? Or should we have a special meeting, that's not August 10th?
It doesn't
Again,
sound like Jackie will be here, even if we have the meeting in the week before.
Okay.
I don't know if that matters, of course it matters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know if
So
that.
I defer to whatever, I want Jackie and
Yeah.
Glorian to be able to participate. I would make myself available if we were gonna schedule a special meeting to accommodate scheduling for
And-
that,
And
you
if I
know?
were here, I would too, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I just feel like we are being pushed into a corner here
Yeah.
when,
I think that you.
how can we
have-
even, how
You
can
have
we?
concerns about this.
Yes.
So, let's talk about it.
So do you, want- should we
Let's
just check
pause-
every
right.
box?
Let's just pause decking.
Oh, don't say that,
No,
don't
no,
say that,
no.
don't say that.
Give me the
No, you
information.
have to.
You would never do that, so.
Information
Okay.
you're concerned about.
We could
Let's,
just,
in 15 minutes, let's do it. Can we do
Yeah,
let's
15
it?
discuss it now.
Discuss it.
And maybe have the vote on the 10th.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
Yes.
But
Well,
today-
you have to
yeah.
issue a report.
I'm gonna issue a report,
But-
I will write you a report and give it to everybody Monday. And then call me up and tell me, can you just have
And then what? Then what's the drop dead date? August 24th?
August 10th,
August 10th?
That's 20 days?
Yes, that's 14 days.
14 days. But 24th is too late because you need 20 days.
And
You have to act within 20 days to make a determination.
But again, I'm not saying, I'm saying you said there was concern about traffic. Period.
And if
The
we have a
traffic study.
quorum here on the
Period.
10th,
Yeah, I'm
Are you back?
concerned about groundwater impacts. Period.
Claire,
I
does
mean,
it-
fortunately,
I'll tip
this
my
is
hand.
one
There's a
that
couple
you
things
kind
I
of
see that
looked
I'm
at,
concerned
so
about.
you know, you guys
Yeah.
know what you're
Yeah.
very well versed in what the issues are, so you can probably move quicker
So
on
Claire,
this.
there's a new site plan for this already, correct?
There is that little sketch,
Yeah, they use that.
that is,
This.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed
that
it.
is the site plan. Okay.
Okay.
Existing building, existing gas pumps,
Yeah.
a new canopy over the gas pumps. The building is being retrofitted to be the convenience store. They,
So it's currently a repair garage. There will no longer be any repairs going on at all.
Correct.
Strictly a convenience store.
correct.
Okay.
Building size is the same
Building size
as
is the
existing,
same.
right?
and we saw the previous application.
Yes.
Now it's been amended in some way and.
Significantly. They were gonna tear the building down and put up a new building.
Right.
Mhm.
Now it's back to just reusing what's there.
But putting in an awning or doing other.
They're building a canopy that does not
Canopy.
meet setbacks
Okay.
for
Then I-
Montauk highways. Essentially, the setback from Walker is only 2.5 feet, so
And
that's
there's,
very minimal.
and there's significant issues with the parking on the site as opposed to brick
There,
park.
yeah, parking's the one thing I have not spelled out in this report that you issued. I think the variance now is for 2 parking spaces.
Oh, I thought I saw someplace that said 9 or.
But
maybe
They're
I saw.
providing,
But-
providing 9 and the 11 or something to that effect.
But there's been an awful lot of correspondence from the community
You don't have to
that
find
No.
the parking calculations are significantly incorrect, and they're very, very short on parking.
Okay.
And I don't have the code in my head to know how correct they are.
Okay.
So why don't we go through the things we know aren't, this doesn't really impact, and then focus on the things we think this new proposal does impact.
Right, so parking is an issue.
Where would you want to go through?
So let's just
Impact
go
on
straight.
land.
Yeah, impact on land.
Okay.
So.
The one that I see is that the proposed action may result in increased erosion. There's a lot of flooding because they have no curbing. And in heavy rain situations, there is just flooding from the actual area right onto the street, onto Walker.
So that's F, so that's significant. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, unless they can contain their site and redo it.
The revisions don't address that issue.
Okay, great. So, are we going on to page 2?
Yeah,
Okay.
Surface
I said
waters?
no to impact on geological features, because there's no natural features on the site. Is that correct?
yeah.
Now, impact on surface waters.
I'd say 3I.
Do you have,
Yes.
can you pull up an aerial on that?
Yes.
Again, if you don't mind, so we could,
No.
the wider view, so we can just get a very, remind us where it is relative to everything else.
Sure, it's 535.
Yeah, I agree with you. 3I.
Yeah, but you have
That's why I'm
gasoline.
pulling back up.
Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but walk
So
around
the
and you guys.
gasoline is existing, right? Gasoline station is existing.
What's the closest body?
This one right here.
And then you have to.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So everything going down, straight down Walk Avenue goes towards the bay though, right?
Yeah, it
Yes,
does.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So there is a concern
so
there.
that's, that, to me, that's.
And that's a result
That's
of,
I. Gasoline spills,
Runoff.
runoff.
Again, I think the water
gasoline is
runoff.
existing. The
Right,
gasoline
but
is
they're
existing.
adding, more people would go there to use the gasoline, so the increase of that gasoline use is going up.
Increased because of the
Increased
convenience
use
store?
because of convenience store and additional usage of the site.
And I think the water runoff.
But we can't comment on the
Existing
existing
uses?
use.
Well, gasoline
secret-
station's not going away either way, right? It's existing.
Right, but if you have a convenience store, somebody might go there
Yeah,
to get
but-
gas
That increases
versus
the
someplace else,
capacity
because
of
you
it.
can stop and get a bottle of
You have more
water or
vehicles
whatever.
pulling in.
Therefore,
Mhm.
more gas use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But Claire, for the purposes of the secret, can we look at all the uses on the property just as they pertain to this secret report?
I mean,
I think-
I'm just trying to find out where you're coming from, right?
Well,
So-
but I would only suggest this though, Claire, when we do a site plan, even if we're changing one part of it, not the other, we're
can look
entitled
at
to look at the
everything else.
entirety of the site. So
Right.
to that extent, I would say, if there is something that you feel is an issue, even that may exist now, that's not being adequately
That's
addressed,
the question
Right.
we're
now's the
asking,
time to
right?
address it.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
the
it's a
Strebels
pre-existing use,
car
but
wash
now we're
we
looking
looked
at
at.
it with an
You
environmental
know,
focus.
just because it's already there doesn't mean.
Okay.
The
Can't be
drainage
improved.
appears to be inadequate.
Yep.
What number is that? You have that?
Well, the same, right?
I is, right,
Mhm.
I is moderate to large, okay.
Moderate to large on I?
Impact on groundwater,
I'd say F.
Okay, so nothing else though?
No, wait.
no?
I
No,
and
we-
surface water, nothing else? I'm gonna say
Well,
small
we're
water.
all trying to read it, read it.
Yeah.
No, I know.
F.
This is not perfect, I just want an idea. So
F,
groundwater, yes, right?
E, to Jackie's point, the erosion. It says proposed action may create turbidity in a water body either from upland erosion runoff or by disturbing bottom sediments.
Okay.
Upland
Back to
erosion.
the surface water.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
Which one was that, Kate?
Back
It's
to impact on
number
surface water.
3E.
So three.
Three E, so we've got
3E,
three E and three I, both of those. Impact on groundwater, we have F. So take that no away.
So, are they, seeing that they're going from a repair shop to a convenience store, do they have to upgrade their wastewater treatment facilities, as in K of 3?
Oh. Right,
Yes,
okay, good question.
good, George,
Back to three.
good.
Three's gonna be, go back to three.
That's a good question.
Right, so we've
Need
got,
more information?
we've got
That's three.
E, I, and K on impact on surface water. And on groundwater, we've got F,
Yep,
so take out the no at the top.
I will. And then impact on flooding, right?
D, because they don't have any.
D. Flooding, sure. Impact on flooding is maybe drainage. D.
D.
Yeah.
And E.
May change floodwater flows.
Yeah,
that
D,
should
D
be
and E,
flooding
yeah.
Yeah.
with the construction of the canopy?
I see that we're so close to the bay too, I know we're.
It's very
Are we in a
close.
500-year floodplain or 100-year floodplain?
Let's
Can you check
look.
that? If we're close enough to the bay that we probably are.
It's not FEMA, is it? No. Yeah, it's FEMA, right?
Close.
This is the flood hazard zones?
Mm-hmm.
That's the,
Is that the only thing I'm looking
I
at?
don't know.
Slosh.
Slosh? No. Is it slosh? Ooh,
Those are the flood, like the
That's
hurricane
category
flood.
4.
Right.
So the questions specifically say result in development within a 100-year or 500-year floodplain.
Yes.
So I don't know where you get that information specifically.
Isn't it with the FEMA?
The FEMA, it's a FEMA flood
Yeah.
zone, they just
Isn't
redid
it
their
X?
FEMA.
X. Yeah, I
X
think it is.
the-
X is the
Yeah.
500, right? So,
Yeah,
hold on, let me
X is
take
the
this off for a
500.
second. So that would be this, the yellow is X. So
Okay.
that's the 500.
But they're in the blue, category 4 for,
Hurricane.
That's
Yeah.
slosh, that's eventually,
The
we're
hurricane
gonna all
surge.
surge, right?
In light of the current events with climate change.
you bet. So which one is that, George?
I don't know, that's,
So where do we put that, Claire?
How about if I just put it in the other category under this section?
Okay,
How's that sound? I'm gonna write a part 3 and slosh.
okay. Agricultural resources, I don't think so.
impacts on air.
I don't think so.
God bless.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Aesthetic
you.
resources.
You sound like
Where are we
me.
at? We're ahead of us.
Where are we, are we?
4 of 10 impacts on air, is that where we
Number
are?
6, right, page, oh, I skipped a page. No. Impacts on
In
air.
flooding, we did.
Top of page.
Impact of air, I don't
Oh,
think
page
so.
4, impacts on air, right.
I don't think there's impact on air or
Animals.
plants and animals, 67,
Okay, that's, I agree with that.
or agricultural.
Okay.
There's no farmland south of that, is there? No.
No, there's no
It's
farmland.
all residential.
It would be north of Old
Okay.
Country.
Aesthetic resources, yes.
Is it right across from the park?
The park.
Yes.
Or the Village
Kitty
Green or
corner.
whatever it is? So we're putting a big canopy up within sight of the park.
So moderate to large on that one?
Yeah, so A, moderate to lower, so take out Claire's designations.
I don't, so, I'm gonna put this under the part 3 section of G, that the canopy is not visually, in
Aesthetics.
keeping with the character of the area. Does
Yeah.
that sound right?
Aesthetic.
Well, I mean, it is
Well, it's the
a
whole
local
thing.
scenic resource, which
Yeah.
is specifically stated here, so why not just put it as A, moderate to
Yeah.
large, right?
And you use it in both.
Local scenic resource, the park is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the park across the street. So we're at 9, right? Aesthetic
That's
resource.
talking about the
Mhm.
corridor. If you feel that that's a corridor, that's like a local scenic corridor.
Yes.
And certainly D, the situation and
Officially
activity.
designated corridor, that would be if you, like if Old Country Road was designated as
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
corridor in the comp plan.
Well, so we're talking about A, right?
We're talking about
Proposed
A.
action may be visible from any officially designated
Scenic
federal,
or
state, or
aesthetic
local
resource.
scenic or aesthetic
So
resource.
So it
That's
has to be
what the park.
officially
Yeah,
designated.
but,
Well,
yeah.
you've
It's the East
established
Quad
a
Village
green.
Green, or whatever, the
Is it
green.
scenic resource or is it a park?
It's
It's
a
a
scenic
resource.
resource, it's a green space,
It's a
like,
scenic
is
resource.
Central Park is
Park
not
is
like a
scenic
national
resource.
park,
I
but
think
it's
you're
like a
missing the
scenic
officially-
resource,
the
right?
officially designation.
That's,
As scenic or aesthetic, I just wanna be specific. I think we can cover it under G, that's my opinion.
And I think we're covered under D,
Yeah.
the situation or activity in which
So
viewers
your
are
other
engaged
impacts.
while viewing the
Mhm.
proposed action is routinely traveled by residents.
Yeah.
And so definitely D,
DI
both,
and.
Yeah, it's both.
both.
Okay. 1 and 2?
mhm.
And maybe it might be best to cover the canopy and the impact in G rather than
Yeah.
trying to shoehorn it into an official designated, which it's not really.
Well, and so E, does E apply
So
also?
E applies as well, I think.
Mhm.
All right, so we'll go with.
All right.
Okay.
So historic and archaeological, I don't think it, dead 10 applies.
10.
You have yes for 10, is it in a?
Yes, 10, yes, the property to the west is a
house.
Isn't there a church?
There's a church,
Okay.
where's my church?
Sort of diagonally
Right here.
across the street, right?
It's one block over, it's on the other corner, on the other block. This is the Catholic church. And then there's the other church, oh no, this is the church right here. Oh, it's across the street.
There's one right across the street.
Yeah, okay. So church, and house,
I did the parking regs there.
okay.
Okay. So we're moving on to impact on open spaces and recreation?
Mm-hmm.
So what are we designating it, going back to the on the
The
10?
church, 10A.
10A, you making it moderate to large, or just leaving it as small impact?
10A.
It's a light. I think it's large.
Well, we don't
Moderate to
have a
large.
district, national, state registered historic place. I'm just saying that the building across the street is.
Okay.
Is a
I
church.
don't know about the church though, so let me look at the church.
So because if we designate any of those to moderate to large, we then go on to E, which has additional questions for anything
Right.
designated moderate to large.
Yeah.
Which may apply,
Mm-hmm,
more significantly there.
right.
Okay, let me see if I can find out designation.
I don't think 11 applies, impact on open space and recreation.
I agree.
And then impact on critical environmental areas. So is it in a, any kind of a environmental overlay district or?
No.
So this is where I think we're gonna have the most impacts. Transportation,
Right, traffic, it is.
Where do we fit internal maneuvering?
Oh, God,
That could be
it's
up.
tight.
Mm-hmm.
That can be up, internal maneuvering.
What about the impact on, is it Walker Avenue?
Yeah.
Yes,
Right, movement of people, you now have a convenience store, you have more vehicles going in and coming out, so. you're
propose that will
affecting the
degrade
movement.
existing pedestrian and
Yeah,
bicycle,
and
right?
goods, right?
So
Delivery of
it's
things to
C,
the
it's
store.
E,
and F.
and F.
Mm-hmm.
Like a
Okay.
C, D, and F.
Yeah.
D, E, and F.
For F, Claire, you have C part 3, what?
She
what
has to
did
write
it-
about separate.
I've written it, yeah.
She'll write it.
Oh.
Impact on
That's-
energy.
It's gonna be kind of fast.
Okay.
So I have A, what do you think about pedestrians and bicycle accommodation?
Yeah,
Yes,
of course it'll impact
D.
that. People on Walker
A,
Avenue.
D, E, and F.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
That's what I got.
A,
Mhm.
B,
So- And those are all moderate to large impact, Martha,
Right.
right?
Correct.
yeah. On energy,
No, I don't think. there's
I don't
anything
think
there.
so.
I agree, no
And
impact on
impact
energy.
on noise, odor, and light.
I'm wondering about the hours of operation, and one of the people that wrote in had said a convenience store could operate like all hours of the night, like a 7-Eleven, and so,
So A,
just like
right?
noise and light
Yeah.
potential.
Yep,
Right.
sound
Issue.
and light from vehicles.
Right,
well, you're adding convenience
Yeah,
stores, you're
convenience
adding
store.
delivery trucks.
Yeah.
yes,
So-
Yeah,
yeah.
Noise.
I think C
Light.
also,
A.
because, you probably introducing a dumpster.
so I'd say
before
A,
it's branded.
D
Right.
probably.
Yeah.
There's like a awning with lights now.
And E,
E as well, yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Actually, C can apply in
Yeah.
15 too, from, discarded food waste in a dumpster, right?
Mm.
Yep.
And in part 3, in F, you'll talk about the proximity to residential areas and
Yes.
schools and
how
stuff.
close is the grammar
Well-
school?
The grammar school is on Central.
Central.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
Couple,
It's there.
300 yards away at
Okay.
least.
Which one?
Yeah, the middle school,
Oh.
the
There is a
grade school.
daycare on the corner there, and I think might be a daycare with this church too, I can't remember.
Yeah, there's a new daycare that just went in East Quogue someplace.
Yeah, I saw the article, I was trying
It
to figure
takes
it
a
out,
village.
but I think it's the one on Central, on
Okay.
the corner, like.
I'm
they
not
took it
sure
over.
where it is, yeah.
So did we move on to
So-
16?
Yeah, that's where we are.
Did we
That's
check
where
off,
we
E.
did we check off
16A.
E on 15E?
Yeah, she's
About
gonna,
the
Yes.
light?
she's gonna have.
Yes,
Okay.
E is
Yeah.
there.
Well, the whole
Yes,
thing with ooze
with
and
E,
noise and.
D, E, and F, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It may, we don't know that it will, but it may.
Impact on human health, yes.
The big one.
Related to traffic, right?
Yep.
Um,
Do we know,
Proposed actions located in 15 feet of licensed daycare center, right?
right, so that's A, right?
That's East I, solid waste, because you're gonna have a dumpster. with
increased
all the-
rate of disposal, right?
Yeah.
I.
Claire, do you, it may be beyond the 1,500 feet, but do you want to look to see how close it is to the school?
I will, I'll look at the school too, so I'll put daycare definitely,
Mhm.
Close probably, but maybe
and
beyond the
the school
1,500
is the
feet.
question. I don't know about a group home, I wouldn't know where those were, but
Yeah,
go from there.
Since this has been a gas station for a long time, I mean, C may apply, but we don't know, right? If there is any contamination on the site from, improper disposal or leakage of tanks, when a site plan comes in, how does that get reviewed to make sure that there isn't any?
Well, there was a health
Testing.
department requirement that the tanks be replaced. I don't know if they've replaced theirs or not.
I thought they had
Yes.
presented they had.
By this
But I don't
point,
think they've
by this
proved
point, they couldn't be operating if it wasn't replaced.
Right.
The
Yeah.
deadline for that has passed quite a while ago.
Right.
If there have
that's
been
right.
violations, there would be a Suffolk County Health
Yeah.
Department
They've shut
record
down.
of it.
Yep.
Right.
Okay, if we
But-
can, no, I'm just saying if we can wrap up in a few minutes, we're almost to the end of this.
Because
We
even
have-
D, right, if the site of the action is subject to institutional control limiting the use of the property, just by issue of zoning, that is in fact a restricted property,
Yeah,
right?
somewhere,
D, yes.
Just D.
yeah,
Where
but
are
you?
later
I.
it talks about zoning.
A, C, D, and
On which
I.
number?
16.
16.
Okay.
Maybe that's special, does she have a special permit?
I think Claire has enough. What about
Yeah.
community and
Oh,
17?
A,
So,
it's in the highway,
So you talk about zoning.
highway office. I mean, there's a,
So A,
A for sure.
C,
C,
C.
Yeah, there's the zoning.
and then all of 18 pretty much.
are we saying E?
yeah. Because of the parking and traffic.
I would say G, right? The proposed action may induce secondary development impacts, residential or commercial development not
I
included.
don't think so. Explain.
Okay, but A and C.
Yeah.
And then community character, E and F, didn't we say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have enough,
E,
Claire?
F, G? Yes.
All right.
Thank
We
you.
have enough, she wants Claire to send this back for us to
Yeah.
review again and come back. to us.
Monday.
So our action is going to be to declare lead agency
Yes.
and to
That's it.
accept
That's
the
it.
EA.
Student lead agency.
Okay, motion.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria and second by Craig, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
I think we still have something else on the
Okay,
agenda.
everything else will be quick. The next one It's Chuck's first project. Nice to
What
him.
number?
Claire, do you want to finish up
14.
with yours?
No, we're gonna do this together. Ours is gonna be all together. I'll do it with him. So 95 silver,
Okay.
number 14.
Number 14?
Yeah.
Just say state, just say state.
Well, it'll be the same.
Yeah, same difference.
I'm introduced myself after the last meeting.
That's good. Yeah. Okay.
So this is for a lot line modification between these two parcels here. They're basically gonna have a little sliver off of it, so this would be to set a public hearing, I think, for September 14th, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Give the
motion?
A motion?
Motion by Kate, second by George, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
And then my next one is Verizon, which is number 16. This essentially is to set the pre-submission conference,
September,
September 14th.
September 14th.
motion?
This is only the third.
Motion.
Motion by George, second
Second.
by Gloria. Kate, all in favor.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, 6 in favor, 1 absent.
I like it. And then number 19, Oceanside.
What about World Peace, 65 Butter
Oh,
Lane?
you already did that.
We did that?
Yes, you
What?
set that.
For what?
Is that right? Is that-
Oh, 625, yes.
Yeah, 925,
928, yeah.
28.
We set that.
Okay.
So that was done. So my next one is Oceanside, which is the,
Set a public hearing.
yeah, and that's for 928 also.
How many do we have on 928?
Just the second one.
Okay, motion, oh,
I'll
did we
move.
do that?
We
Well, we-
haven't done it yet. so-
Okay, so motion to set Oceanside for August 28th.
Motion.
Motion by Gloria, and second by George,
Wait,
all in
August
favor.
28th, September
August.
28th.
September,
Yes.
ah,
September 28th.
September,
Okay.
okay.
And then we need-
6 in favor, 1 absent. We
Now-
did that. Acknowledge signature, Gloria.
I do not know what's here.
Okay.
Anthony said,
There's one walk-on, right?
Yes, and that
One
is
walk
for
on.
115, 127 Halsey
Halsey.
Lane.
yes, and
JSC.
JSC.
JC Resources is re-signed.
it has been re-signed?
You're gonna re-sign it.
Okay, and by the way,
Is off the.
Is
agenda.
off the
Oh, this is
agenda.
the.
and what about Zarabi Family Trust?
Off the agenda.
Off the
Okay.
agenda.
So I'm signing
Pass it.
215 and 120, or 115, 127 Halsey and JSC Resources.
Correct.
All right,
And
so
I'm
next
assuming
one.
that's what's there?
That's what's there. This
Okay.
is JSC, and that's 129,
Okay.
115, 127.
I will do that at some, after I go to the bathroom.
So for the record, we're
Fair enough.
acknowledging,
You know.
we're acknowledging signatures
Yes.
on,
JSC Resources and 115 and 127 Halsey.
great, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, so the last one then is the town board referral for the moratorium.
Yeah, so if you're aware, I know that you at the last meeting had done a report with Janice.
We never did see that report.
Right, and I'm gonna follow up with her to make sure you have that report. In this case, the town board has set a new public hearing for a new moratorium, 6 months. It will include current applications. And I think that's probably some of the feedback that you gave to Janice. So I just essentially support.
Yeah, we support it, but we also want to say that we want to retain an independent expert, right? And to include some of the concerns of the stakeholders in the community. Anybody else want to add anything to that? I mean, I think that's pretty complete.
Maybe we
Yeah.
could specify several independent experts on, like, public safety and
Well,
emergency response,
I
as
think
well
it-
as like our traffic, exit
But
plan.
I think an energy expert on these best systems
Yeah.
would take all of those into consideration, otherwise they're not
Sure,
really
yeah.
worth their weight. And I think the town board will be doing that, but
Do we want to get into the subject of siting? One of the things that should be done in the next 6 months is somehow address the siting issue.
so do we want to say that the code amendments, that we would participate in code amendments? Is that a good thing, Christine, or not?
Well, you'll always get, I mean.
You'll always get a
Yeah, we'll always
You'll
get a
the
referral,
So
right.
you'll be able
So
to
that would
weigh in more
involve citing.
specifically.
At one point, we had talked about, maybe the town should develop a list of acceptable places.
Right.
I don't know, that's going pretty
Or
far.
not.
Well, right now, this is just for moratorium.
Just for
This is just for
But
the
I
So
think,
point
but
of
during the
But during the
moratorium.
moratorium, and
Right.
I mean, I, from what I've tried to learn, there may have more incremental sizes in
Yes.
these systems, so that maybe residential is okay for smaller systems, rather than the large, basically, we have 600 kilowatt hours is an up.
But
Maybe we need some.
I don't think
I
we
think
want
this is
that in
relevant
this,
here.
it's
Well,
not, yeah.
I'm just saying, I
Yeah.
guess what I'm saying is, looking,
When the time
during the
comes.
moratorium, we should look at the
Right.
sizing
Mhm.
along with where it's
Yeah, and
cited.
that's been my biggest criticism all along, that we went from 600 kilowatt, which is why I thought this
Right.
was geared more towards like maybe like a car dealership or somebody running a small office building, and then to infinity. So you end up from 600 kilowatt to 100 megawatts, there's nothing in between. And to draw a parallel, there is a size limit on housing that you can build on a lot, but there's no size limit
Right.
on.
Yeah, could you
On a
stack them
person.
up?
So,
I mean,
I
yeah.
really think that my initial comment
And
about
siting could be based on.
the town making a master plan of where best systems should be sited, it should come from a master plan,
Yes.
a baseline, a
And-
blueprint. And
shouldn't-
I don't think it should be in any residential area, period, but that's my opinion. But that will come out in the moratorium.
Have an energy overlay, and if PSEG deems it appropriate.
Then
for
they
a
can
site.
build a substation.
Exactly.
Right.
It
Yeah.
shouldn't be based on where substation is. If it's so important, why not
Exactly.
build a substation to
So
where it's
with-
Exactly.
With the best technology being so new and not enough data being collected, maybe to have an expert, are there experts
Yes,
really
there are.
that
There are many,
could cover
yeah.
all of the broad swath of topics that we're?
I spoke to somebody today who's doing some of this work, and he happens to be like an expert on secret that, up in Albany, and
Okay.
he has referred one of his partners to us to try and vet out some potential, like
Mhm.
impartial experts, like nobody that's tied to
The industry.
the industry or the state.
I have a connection to somebody in Massachusetts who maybe has like the Cape, if they're doing this on Cape Cod, which would be a good analysis compared to us in terms of groundwater, seasonal tourism, et cetera. So I'll see if I can get that and I'll email everybody.
It seems to me we could either, and I like your idea of just saying, to hire a consultant to assist the town.
Mhm.
You had mentioned, for example, look at safety, look at size, look at siting.
Right,
Do we
what the
want to put
scope
those
of
in
that
there,
is.
or just simply say to look at the many aspects?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
yeah.
impact on the community and
Assist in
Yeah.
a whole number of
right.
areas of concern.
Maybe we just name all of the categories
Yeah, but-
in the EAF form.
Right.
That's the scope,
It's a good
right?
tool.
I mean,
Tool.
and,
Sometimes
and
they're
to-
meaningless because they don't apply to our community
Right.
at all, a
Um,
1,000 parking spaces. we're
but,
not-
and consider if the person who is looking at this is not a specialist in like fire and life safety, like that is a critical component of it, so. I mean,
Depending on the
I don't
size, it
think
could be a
we-
there are
regional
other-
Yeah,
issue.
I don't think we
for-
want to do a laundry
Respond.
list. I don't
Yeah.
think that that's what this is for.
Okay.
Right.
Well,
You
hopefully-
can put that in the scope of
Yeah.
work.
The
If
scope
Sure,
of
right,
work,
yeah, so we'll have a
Find
crack
potential
at that.
consultants, you
Good.
put that in,
Yeah.
here's what you want you to have.
Great.
Help us.
Hopefully we
Do
Exactly.
you want input on the consultants?
Yes,
That's
I
retained.
would.
How's that? I mean, planning board.
I don't know. I
So
don't
what
know.
was Input on who the consultant is?
I'd really like to know about preparedness and training for the firefighters.
Well, I mean, my feeling is this ends up going from the town board to the planning board. We should have some input on, reviewing potential consultants. I mean, I'd like to
Who's
see us
responding
have
to
that
the
opportunity.
RFP, right?
I think, I keep going back to baseline, like a master plan for these documents. I think the town should have a person in town who is the sustainability director.
Yeah.
There is no one in this town, like they don't have a town traffic engineer. Well, they're gonna need a sustainability director, a director,
Yeah,
rather than
so-
coordinator.
yeah,
Someone
coordinator.
in charge of this, so that it doesn't wind up being a fragmented discussion.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I think you got it.
Yeah.
Need a consultant, and I think the planning board would like to be involved in the process
Yeah.
of selecting the consultant or helping develop the scope of work for the consultant.
Right.
Do you want to also suggest that they reach out to other local municipalities surrounding us to try and coordinate some of these efforts to address?
That's not a
I think
bad
it'd be
idea,
great.
because again, it's a
Yeah.
regional issue, not just a town.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a regional issue, and it's a regional safety issue if
Right.
there's
And
something
response.
bad that happens.
Because we're like the front and the back of the hand
Yeah.
here. Mm. Claire, will you promise you'll send this to us? Because we didn't see the last one and we're voting on it. No, but you're,
Me. What I'm gonna say is that you support the moratorium. You
6-month
sugge-
moratorium.
Yes, 6 months.
which including current application.
Yep.
Say that.
I'm going to step out just for.
And that you support the planning board, or suggest the planning board be involved in retaining, the consultants.
I wouldn't put that second, I'd put all the other stuff in there.
Okay, so you're suggesting, so you're saying, because I wrote down your order, so retaining independent experts to consider public safety as well as, traffic, exit strategy,
Well, do we want to list?
No,
size.
I don't think we want, I would definitely not include that, because
Okay.
that's getting down into a
The nitty-gritty.
detail.
That's why
When
I'm
we could
saying.
include, we could miss something, so
A
why
variety
include
of
it?
issues or something?
Yeah,
Absolutely. So I was saying, instead of that, I would say suggest that the planning board be involved in retaining the independent
right.
experts.
And if there was help on the code, if they wanted help.
Code
on
amendments,
Code amendments.
which
And
is fine.
developing the scope of work.
And developing the scope of, I like that, those words, scope of work,
And,
oh, yeah.
and coordinate with other.
coordinate with other municipalities,
That's number 4.
and consider the designation of a town sustainability director.
That's 5. Okay, support resolution moratorium and specifics. 2, suggest the planning board be involved, including the scope of work and retaining the consultants, right? 3, planning board involved in the code amendments from an early stage. You
No,
always
just
see them
say-
at the end,
Just see.
Yeah.
but from an early stage.
Mhm.
Combined work session? Like, I don't know,
Well,
if we need
I
to be
mean, we'll
specific
figure
about
out,
that.
we'll
but
figure out the mechanism later,
Right.
Kate.
Right.
4, coordinated with other municipalities. And 5, sustainability director.
Consider appointing
Good.
a town sustainability director.
Gloria.
Well,
Another hat for you to wear.
Okay, so.
Do you
and
like that?
Any more?
I just want to say,
No, that's good.
despite my role in sustainability, where I know they were looking at not wanting to do a moratorium, I totally think we need to do it, and I'm very happy to vote today.
Great.
Good. Excellent.
Okay, motion to accept this by
Motion.
Tom, second by Gloria, all in favor.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, 6 in favor,
6.
Motion to adjourn?
1 absent, motion to adjourn for 5 minutes.
Motion
Motion by George, second by Craig, all in favor, opposed, abstentions.
See you all in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I got a big too.